The execution pen is glowing again, and Jiang Fan knows that means trouble with a capital tribulation. A saint's remnant soul just locked onto him, and the 9 inheritors are already making their moves across the realms. Leave a like and subscribe before the next seal breaks. Jiang Fan frowned slightly. This saint's remnant soul could still sense the execution pen on him. With a hint of suspicion, he took out the execution pen. Before he could ask, the golden little sword seal on Liu Qingxian's forehead began to glow faintly. Threads of golden light flowed out, falling onto the execution pen. Immediately, a faint saint realm pressure surged around the execution pen. A thread of voice also flew from the seal on Liu Qingxian's forehead. Only the power of the saint realm can activate the pen's true potential. Jiang Fan's spirit trembled violently. The execution pen had not indeed exhibited the power a world artifact should have while in his hand. Part of the reason was that the ink at most covered only half of it. Another part was likely due to Jiang Fan's own cultivation being far beneath the saint realm. But now there was a thread of holy power to bolster it. If he soaked the pen fully in ink, even though he couldn't rival a saint realm strike, it should still be hard for anyone in the sage realm to resist it. Facing the chaotic ancient blood marquis again, he would not be simply a passive target. But he realized and said in a deep voice, "Do you want to trade a bit of favor for me to release Qingxian?" From within the seal came an ancient and time-worn syllable. "It's so that you may live to see her return. Your situation is far more perilous than hers." Jiang Fan remained silent. Indeed, who could compare to the dangers around him? There was a distant calamity, the chaos ancient blood marquis nearby, and the distant conquest of the heavenly realm. Liu Qingxian being by his side was truly the real danger. Who knew when the chaos ancient blood marquis might send a blood spear across the void, wiping out both him and the entire heavenly mechanism pavilion into the void. In fact, if she stayed away from him, Liu Qingxian would be safe and able to obtain overwhelming opportunities. Yet, out of personal desire, he wanted to keep Liu Qingxian by his side. Jiang Fan looked at the seal and said, "Senior, what do you want Qingxian to do by taking her to the martial vault?" The seal emitted a faint glow, faintly revealing the blurred silhouette of a one-armed elder. "To stop the person who escaped from the Sumeru divine prison." Jiang Fan's pupils trembled, and he said, "Are you referring to the entity from the third layer?" The one-armed saint spoke vaguely and did not respond directly, but hoarsely said, "The chaos of the 100 realms of all heavens began because of him. Stopping him is the duty of my lineage." Jiang Fan recalled the gate of the Sumeru divine prison, melted into a human-shaped opening. Was this due to that person's escape from the Sumeru divine prison? What kind of existence was he? The chaos of the 100 realms, was it really all because of him? Thinking of Liu Qingxian going to face such an existence made Jiang Fan resist even more. "It's too dangerous," Jiang Fan said. The seal spoke slowly. "She is just one of the 9 inheritors that I selected from the 100 realms. Ultimately, whether she can emerge as the inheritor from the candidates is still unknown." 9 inheritors. Jiang Fan finally understood a bit. No wonder sword heart engraving was carved on a meteorite. Originally, it was the one-armed saint who sent it from the void to various worlds. Through the cultivation technique, he would select the person suitable for his legacy. Liu Qingxian from Central Earth was merely one of those he recruited. As for the golden little sword, it was not solely transferred to Liu Qingxian through the little Qilin. He must have employed other methods to deliver it into the hands of candidates. A saint who was trapped could still manipulate plans in the 100 realms of all heavens. Indeed, it echoed the words of the 9 nether demon venerable. Never underestimate a saint. Liu Qingxian held Jiang Fan's hand and said, "Husband, let me go. Even if I fail, my power will greatly increase. If successful, all the better. I also want to be someone who shoulders the responsibility of a realm, just like you." Yun Shang, True Words, and Gong Kei were so moved. Liu Qingxian, a woman, possessed an ambition surpassing most men in the world. Such a person was it truly right for Jiang Fan to keep her by his side. Jiang Fan looked at Liu Qingxian, and in a trance, the once stubborn and proud daughter of the sect master was back. She had regained herself. Jiang Fan pondered for a long time, a trace of bitterness emerging on his face, and he sighed. "The martial vault, right? If I one day enter the void, I'll come to the martial vault to find you. If you become unhappy, will you obediently come back to me, okay?" Liu Qingxian joyfully embraced Jiang Fan. "Thank you, husband. I will work hard and never disappoint you." The bitterness in Jiang Fan deepened. On the contrary, he hoped Xianxia wouldn't work too hard, wouldn't bear some great worldly responsibility upon herself. It's too exhausting. The one-armed saint in the little sword seal spoke slowly. Thank you for allowing this. When you get the chance, do visit the Sumeru Divine Prison once more. I've left some things there that will be beneficial to you. We'll meet at the Martial Vault. The little sword seal projected a brilliant golden sword shadow, effortlessly unfolding the space before him to reveal a void. Liu Xianxia embraced Jiang Fan deeply one last time, looking at the face she had met since Lonely Boat City, feeling exceedingly reluctant. She lifted her feet slightly, her red lips pecking Jiang Fan's lips, her eyes growing red. I'm leaving now. She gently let go, stepping back to the edge of the void, her vision slowly blurring with tears. Finally, she turned around and walked into the void. That golden sword shadow carried her away into the distance. Jiang Fan silently watched her figure fade away, his emotions churning inside. Su Yoren remained in the Hell Realm, Yue Mingzhu was gone, and Liu Xianxia also left. Ling Shu would follow the 9 nether demon venerable to a far place. True Words would also enter the void to search for her father. They all had their own missions, their own life paths. Their chance meeting was merely an intersection in their long life trajectories during a certain period. In life's journey, there are always those who leave first and those who leave later. It's just a matter of time. The scenery is empty as one yearns for distant places. Falling flowers and rainy winds further grieve spring, better to cherish those present. Yun Shang's gaze quivered, softly embracing Jiang Fan's waist from behind. Jiang, I'll be with you all the time. Gong Kei gently added, I will too. We're most concerned about you. Jiang Fan was deeply moved, drawing the 2 women into his embrace, saying, Don't worry, I'm fine. Separation is a compulsory course in life. I've slowly learned to accept it. He gazed at True Words, whose expression was complex, comforting her. Do what you wish to do. As long as we can reunite in the future, what does temporary separation matter? True Words was increasingly moved. It was Jiang Fan who should be comforted, but in the end, it was he who comforted her. Jiang Fan had always been so attentive to her feelings, utterly caring. Husband? True Words gently leaned against Jiang Fan's chest, feeling ever more deeply the reliability of the man before her. Jiang Fan smiled slightly, embracing the 3 women as they lay on the couch, chatting leisurely. Sister Kei, why does Yue Mingzhu always call you a hypocrite? You first tell me what Sister Yoren said initially that made you so afraid of her. Sister Yun Shang, why are you secretly laughing? Tell us how you convinced yourself to give up your marriage and belong to our husband in the end. Hey, what are you guys asking so randomly? Jiang Fan quietly listened, his eyes and mouth filled with a contented smile. At this moment, his mind was more peaceful than ever before. Perhaps this is what he had been pursuing all along. Once he'd vanquished the heavenly realm, weathered the dark tide, and unraveled the mysteries of the void ancient tree. He would open a small world and peacefully spend the rest of his days with them like this. Listening to this, Jiang Fan gradually became engrossed. When he came back to his senses, he found his consciousness already standing on the steps of the 4th domain. Only one more step remained from the end. Only then did he realize that he had unknowingly already traversed far in the 4th domain. The death of Lianjing Venerable, and the subsequent loss and recovery, the departure of Liu Xianxia, accompanied by the quiet companionship of the 3 women. Each change in mood allowed him to silently comprehend and elevate. How many unexpected events are there in the world? The death of my foster mother, the departure of Xianxia, all arrived unanticipated. Rather than compensating for a flaw by destruction or perfection, it's better to prevent it before it happens. Perceiving the cause and effect of the world, cutting off regrets before the river of time, wouldn't that reduce regrets? His eyes gradually brightened. The intangible force that hindered him dissipated, and his consciousness successfully ascended to the 4th step. The flame on the 4th altar ignited successfully. His 4th domain was insight. Under the domain, one could see through the opponent's true form, cultivation, thoughts, and past memories. When encountering a stranger, under the domain, one could understand all sorts of hidden information about the other party, distinguish between good and evil, predict the enemy's moves, and gain victory. For some cunning enemies, it could be very useful. Jiang Fan's eyes showed a trace of a smile as he looked towards True Word Venerable. He was a bit curious about what Su Yoren had said to her back then to make her, in her madness, fear Su Yoren. Unfortunately, he now had the insight, but without a breakthrough in cultivation, the 4th domain could not take shape. It depends on when Wuhan Sage could refine the dragon abyss fruit into a spirit pill. This was the first time his breakthrough in cultivation was limited by resources. If he hadn't taken the resources from Yun He Li Xian's home, he feared that the resources needed to break through to Heavenly Person 4 declines would still be far off. Heavenly Person 4 declines is like this. The resources to break through the Heavenly Person 5 declines would be even more scarce. The lotus seeds of the Black Lotus of Tribulation, such a rare elixir of heaven and earth, cannot be found in Central Earth for the time being. Not even the heavenly realm may have similar resources. It seems preparations must be made early for the resources to break through the Heavenly Person 5 declines, Jiang Fan murmured. Currently, he possessed a merit divine pearl capable of breaking through to the virtuous realm. As soon as he reached the Heavenly Person 5 declines realm, he could immediately enter virtuous with merit, replicating his path from 7 orifice nascent soul, reaching divinity transformation in one step. Of course, this is based on the premise that the holy angel's remnant soul's prophecy of ancestor path not entering the sage doesn't come true. A day later, Yunshang kissed Jiang Fan on the cheek, saying, "Thank you, Jiang, for accompanying me today. I can't keep bothering you. Hurry up and get busy. There are still many things you need to handle." True Word Venerable also said, "Yes, the delegation from the Hell Realm is still outside the mountain gate." Gong Kei also said, "You better go. We 3 sisters still have some things to discuss. It's inconvenient for you to be here." Jiang Fan laughed helplessly. "What could you be discussing that's inconvenient for me to hear?" Gong Kei covered her mouth and laughed lightly. "Oh, a lot. You better leave quickly." Jiang Fan shook his head in a wry smile, actually being chased away. He shook his head and laughed, then left using instantaneous movement. After he left, Gong Kei impatiently pulled True Word Venerable and said, "Little sister Zhenyan, honestly, have you made progress with our husband? You seem different with him lately." True Word quickly stood up, feeling guilty. I'm going to cultivate too." Yunsheng grabbed her other hand with a playful smile. "You're not allowed to leave. You are about to leave Central Earth. How can you not accompany your husband before leaving?" True Word, with a face pale and cold, was teased until her face turned red by the 2 ladies. "What are you? What are you doing?" Yunsheng giggled. "Of course, teaching you some of the poses your husband likes. You better learn well." True Word held her face in her hands, exclaiming, I don't want to learn, let me go." Yunsheng laughed. "Sister Kei, hold her down, she must learn them today." Gong Kei laughed. "Yes, we'll teach you until you learn it perfectly." "I don't want." A burst of noise came from within the room. Jiang Fan stood outside the secret room listening for a moment, then his old face couldn't help but turn red. "When women become lewd, there's really nothing we men can do." Shaking his head, he quickly slipped back into his long-unused secret chamber. As per usual, he began by inspecting the chamber. His gaze swept casually across. Unexpectedly, the routine check actually allowed him to sense a trace of anomaly. His eyes narrowed, staring at a corner in the east. He yelled lightly, "How bold!" He sensed a faint trace of demonic chi. The opponent was hiding well, but was still detected by his strong soul of the Heavenly Person 4 declines. He was unceremonious and decisively drew the evil sword, stabbing forward. With a crisp sound, the evil sword struck something hard, and the person hidden in the dark appeared. A scantily clad woman, her chest exposed, revealing white skin and a ravine. She was beautiful, her eyes seductive, her gaze particularly enchanting. In her hand was armor woven from black snake scales, blocking the strike of the evil sword. "Giggle, little young lord, such ruthlessness, haven't seen you in a while and you're already intent on killing me." With that voice, Jiang Fan could guess who it was with his eyes closed. Demoness, a female demon cultivator venerate, controlled by the Asura Saint Sun. "Is it you?" Jiang Fan's eyes narrowed, withdrawing the evil sword, resting it on his knees. "You dare to come find me? You truly aren't afraid of death." The demoness smiled coyly. "How could our young lord bear to kill me?" She swayed her hips like a water snake, approaching Jiang Fan, her ample chest pressing against Jiang Fan's arm, her face full of charm. Jiang Fan snorted lightly. A surge of the power of thunder and lightning erupted from his body's surface. The demoness giggled and dodged timely. "Oh, young lord is angry." Jiang Fan stared at her. "I give you 10 seconds to speak." Remembering the demoness had secretly warned him about the Asura Saint Sun seeking him at the time, Jiang Fan held back from acting. But that was the limit. This demoness, both right and wrong, was not a good person. The demoness laughed coquettishly, producing a pitch-black throne, exuding waves of demon race aura. "I'm here to give young lord a gift. Yet young lord wants to drive me away, truly hurts my heart. Jiang Fan looked at the black throne, feeling it was familiar, and after a brief recollection, suddenly realized what it was. Black Dragon Venerable's throne treasury. In this treasury, there was that mysterious purple crystal ore. When Jiang Fan had captured Black Dragon Venerable's soul, he had asked about the whereabouts of the throne treasury. Black Dragon Venerable said that his body was controlled by the Asura Saint Sun, leaving him no choice, and everything on him was taken by the demoness. Including the throne treasury, his eyes showed fervor. He could disregard the other things in the treasury. But he must get hold of that mysterious purple crystal ore. Modinkian had analyzed that this purple crystal ore should hold a certain seal. The 8 characters, indiscernible with the naked eye, were the remnants left by the seal over the years on the depression. Black Dragon Venerable had once obtained a piece of cloth, on which a rubbing of the 8 characters was imprinted, carrying a terrible pressure to crush the void. The extraordinariness of this purple crystal ore was imaginable. He changed the coldness on his face, sheathed the evil sword, and smiled. "Little sister demoness, isn't this being too formal?" The demoness laughed heartily, truly a realistic little man. Just a moment ago he was cold-faced, ready to stab her with a sword. Seeing some benefit, he immediately changed his face, calling her demoness sister sweetly. Often scolded for being shameless, she suddenly felt perhaps she did have some face after all. But, the demoness said with a cheerful smile, "I just like the shameless side of you. Do you want the throne?" The demoness pointed to her cheek. "Kiss me first." Jiang Fan's face hardened, pulling out the evil sword again. "Are you giving it or not?" The demoness smiled mischievously, pulling her collar open to reveal a swath of snow-white skin. "Of course, little hero, how could I refuse you? Whatever you want to do, I'll play along. The more thrilling, the more I like it." Damn. Jiang Fan gripped the sword, unsure whether to chop or not. He truly didn't know how to handle women like her. Seeing Jiang Fan's flustered demeanor, the demoness covered her mouth and giggled incessantly. "And you're supposed to be the #1 in divinity transformation in Central Earth. Is this all?" Jiang Fan grunted. "Cut the nonsense. Why did you come to me? It can't just be to deliver the treasure throne." The demoness played with her hair and said, "What else? Of course, I want to ask my little hero for help." That seemed more like it. Jiang Fan's gaze flickered, having already guessed her aim. "You want me to help you break free from the control of the Asura Saint Sun?" Though the Asura Saint Sun is now missing, the blood worm he left within her should still be there. As long as the worm remains, the demoness cannot be free. "That's one thing, but the second is, I want to use your hand to cut open this void so I can leave Central Earth." The demoness supplemented. With the Asura Saint Sun gone, as someone associated with him, she would inevitably face reckoning from Central Earth. While Central Earth is still busy with the expedition to the heavenly realm, now is the time to leave quickly. Otherwise, when the 4 seas unite and peace returns to Central Earth, leaving would be difficult. As for these requests, they're not much of a problem for Jiang Fan. "Where do you plan to go?" Jiang Fan asked. The demoness touched her chin and said, "To the divine capital. I heard from the Asura Saint Sun that the dark tide is coming, and few worlds among the 100 realms of all heavens can withstand it. The divine capital is one of the safest worlds." Hearing this, she gave a mischievous smile. "Little hero, why don't we elope together?" Jiang Fan rolled his eyes at her. "But is the so-called dark tide really that terrifying?" He didn't say more, gently flicking his chest. With a burning sensation, the feathers of the 5-colored rooster flew away, transforming into a phantom of the 5-colored rooster. It crowed at the demoness, causing her to show a look of agony as a nail-like blood-red worm appeared from her forehead. With quick reflexes, the demoness grabbed it in one swift motion. "You damned worm, were you comfortable in this lady's body?" Snarling, the demoness said, "Tell your master this lady will kill him sooner or later." With that, she clenched her fingers, crushing the blood worm with surging demonic chi. Jiang Fan withdrew the feathers, gripping the evil sword. "Are you leaving now or need to prepare?" The demoness hid her irritation, casting a captivating gaze at him. "Can't bear to part with me, can you?" Jiang Fan snorted, spitting the void flow thunder fire onto the evil sword, slicing open the void before him. "Hurry and get lost," the demoness chuckled. "Thank you, little hero." With that, her hips swayed as she leisurely stepped into the void. Who knows what trick she used, but the chaotic streams of the void parted around her. The demoness turned back to glance at Jiang Fan, blowing him a flying kiss. "Moi. May fate bring us together again." With a string of coquettish laughs, she disappeared into the void. Jiang Fan closed the void and quickly turned his gaze to the throne's cave dwelling. In this cave dwelling, when he pretended to have amnesia, the Black Dragon Venerable had once told him the spell to open it, and he had successfully opened it once. He immediately recited the spell, but as expected, the spell was ineffective. When the Black Dragon Venerable betrayed the demon continent, he had considered the cave's security. Since the spell was useless, he could only resort to asking the soul of the Black Dragon Venerable. He took out the tower bound with numerous souls, focusing his mind, and from it emerged a black soul. Its form was that of the half-man, half-snake Black Dragon Venerable. As soon as it left the soul tower, the soul attempted to flee into the void. Soul-capturing lock! At the moment when its foot stepped into the void, Jiang Fan, well prepared, cast the soul's secret technique. Instantly, the Black Dragon Venerable's soul was bound. In mere spirit form, he could not escape the soul-capturing lock of the heavenly person for declines, bound tightly like a cocoon, unable to move. Black Dragon Venerable, long time no see. Jiang Fan smiled. The Black Dragon Venerable glared at Jiang Fan with resentment. HMPH, you didn't die at the hands of the Asura Saint's son. Your luck is vast indeed. To him, the crafty and plotting Asura Saint's son, how hard would it be to kill Jiang Fan? Unexpectedly, Jiang Fan was still alive. That's old news. The Asura Saint's son has already fallen in cultivation to the heavenly human 5 declines, his life or death unknown. Jiang Fan shrugged. The Black Dragon Venerable was startled. How long has it been, and the Asura Saint's son had fallen from a revered sage to the heavenly human 5 declines? Looking at Jiang Fan before him, he couldn't help but sigh, I've realized those who oppose you all meet bad ends. Such was the case for me, the compassionate sage too, and even more so for the Asura Saint's son. Jiang Fan said, realizing it now is a bit late. I'm giving you 2 choices. First, a quick death, or second, enter this bottle and endure slow torture. He took out a little black bottle, which burned with soul-suppressing flames. Venerate Zinni's father and the hell beast had both spent time inside it. The Black Dragon Venerable pondered, do you need something from me now? His gaze moved around, suddenly spotting his own treasure throne. He couldn't help but laugh, hee, so you want my treasure, huh? What, the old spell no longer works? Jiang Fan ignored his taunt. I'll give you 3 breaths to choose. The Black Dragon Venerable stopped laughing, pondering, can't you just let me go? Jiang Fan shook his head. I don't leave potential threats hanging around. The Black Dragon Venerable sighed to the heavens. All right. I admit defeat. Hope you keep your promise and grant me a swift end. Jiang Fan said, of course once I have the spell, you're of no use. Tormenting you is pointless. The Black Dragon Venerable took a deep breath. The spell is rise again. Oh. The spell was fitting. Jiang Fan looked at the throne's cave dwelling, repeating, rise again. Crack. The throne emitted a crisp sound, but it did not open. Instead, a terrifying dark light shot out, heading straight for Jiang Fan. It appeared too suddenly, quickly darting toward Jiang Fan with lightning speed. The Black Dragon Venerable's face twisted into a sneer. Fool! Did you think my throne is so easily coveted? Go die! Whoosh, but as the door sounded, the Black Dragon Venerable's expression froze. At some point, Jiang Fan had gripped a black sword shrouded in void flow thunder fire, cleaving open the void before him. That streak of pitch-black light just happened to shoot into the void, vanishing without a trace. If he hadn't prepared in advance, it would have been impossible to react so quickly. The Black Dragon Venerable stared deeply at Jiang Fan. You knew there was a trap inside the throne? Jiang Fan smiled faintly. I didn't, but I could guess. Someone as unruly as you, how could you possibly hand over your lifetime's accumulated wealth so easily? So I made some precautions. He'd already experienced things like traps being set inside a storage device. Naturally, he wouldn't fall for it so easily. The Black Dragon Venerable's face sank as he snorted. Count yourself lucky you kept that dog life of yours. Jiang Fan narrowed his eyes and said, say the real spell. My patience is limited. The Black Dragon Venerable laughed, baring his teeth. Hee, ha 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 ha. Then he threw his head back and roared with laughter. Ha 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 ha. Jiang Fan, oh Jiang Fan, so you do have a time when you need something from me. You're the #1 of the 9 Steels, the hero of Central Earth who destroyed Heavenly Heritage City and killed the compassionate sage. And you actually have to beg me, ha 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 ha. Jiang Fan's gaze narrowed. 3, the Black Dragon Venerable mocked. No need to count. You think an old hand like me at the level of a great venerate is spineless. Every step I've taken was paved with blood and tears. You think a bit of torture can make me bow? Heh. I'd rather suffer than let you have it easy. I just want to watch you fail to get what you want and still be all anxious, heh. Watching the black dragon venerable laughing like a madman, Jiang Fan rubbed his brow. Since you don't care about dignity, I'll help you keep some dignity. He took out the ancient heart mirror, reflecting the black dragon venerable's figure within it. This was a spiritual artifact that could probe others' inner voices, infallibly effective. The black dragon venerable glanced at it and said with disdain, trying to pry into my inner thoughts, "You think that's possible? You think a great venerate's soul is made of paper? Unless I have no defenses against you at all, don't even think about it." Without any expression, Jiang Fan took out a strange flower, entirely fiery red with golden stamens. The black dragon venerable narrowed his eyes. "What, planning to poison me? I'd be delighted," Jiang Fan said evenly. "This flower of mine comes from the Hell Realm. It's called Forgotten Dust Flower. It makes people temporarily forget their worries and sorrows. Of course, you'll also temporarily forget who I am. At that time, you should have no defenses against me." "What?" The black dragon venerable's face froze. He struggled, his expression twisting ferociously. "Get lost, get the hell away from me. Why should my opportunity fall into your hands? Why, in this world, its victors are kings, losers are bandits. I, the black dragon, also have great fortunes. I just wasn't as lucky as you accomplished types. I'd rather die than let my opportunity become a wedding dress for prodigies like you." Jiang Fan's face was ice cold, completely unmoved. "Listen to you, acting like you're so noble. You opened up the underground world and released hell creatures to slaughter your own race. Someone like you deserves to be called king?" At best, the black dragon venerable was just a vicious warlord. Whatever end he met was unworthy of sympathy. Without the slightest hesitation, Jiang Fan crushed the flower. Wisps of pollen drifted out, floating into the black dragon venerable's soul. The black dragon venerable cried out in shock and rage. "I will never give you. The purple crystal ore is mine." In the midst of his roar, the black dragon venerable's aura grew weaker and weaker. His eyes shifted from defiant to calm, then to utterly vacant. "Who are you?" The black dragon venerable stared blankly at Jiang Fan in front of him. Jiang Fan seized the moment when the black dragon venerable was most defenseless and asked, "What's the spell for the dwelling?" The black dragon venerable's expression was dull. Instinctively wary, he didn't respond, but in his mind he couldn't help recalling it. "The spell is Rise Again from the East. No, that's the trap spell. The real spell is Victors are kings, losers are bandits." Jiang Fan's expression finally relaxed. He'd finally gotten the spell. It had not been easy. If he'd already broken through the heavenly person 4 declines and possessed the 4th domain, he wouldn't have needed all this trouble. He tossed the black dragon venerable aside and said, "Victors are kings, losers are bandits." Crack, at last, the throne cave dwelling responded and a spatial fluctuation finally appeared. With a thought, Jiang Fan stepped into the dwelling. The black dragon venerable's long-anticipated cave dwelling was finally open. What entered his sight was a purple crystal mine, and beside it piles of demon race materials, among which were items like sky demon relic needed by the nascent soul realm. There was even some 10,000 spirits' ancestor blood left unused. These should be the blood that the Asura Saint Son tricked the black dragon venerable into drinking, containing the Asura Saint Son's blood. For this reason, the black dragon venerable had fallen under his control. This blood could completely allow Yun Shang, using a reshaped domain, to separate the Asura Saint Son's blood, then distribute it to the demon race members of the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion. Of course, the most important thing was still this purple crystal mine. Jiang Fan flew up, overlooking the characters carved in the recessed area. Now that his soul had reached the heavenly person 4 declines, when he looked at the 8 characters inside, they were still incomparably blurry. Just what words are carved on that mysterious seal? Even now, I still can't look at them directly. Thinking, he took out that tattered cloth scrap. With how often he'd used it, the cloth had long since lost its initial power to crush the barriers of the world. Now he could try to re-imprint the 8 characters on the seal. He guided the palm-sized scrap of cloth, letting it slowly descend into the recess. This scrap seemed to have some connection with the characters of the seal. As it neared the script, the cloth actually enlarged on its own, just enough to cover the 8 characters. After that, 8 characters once again appeared imprinted onto the cloth. Jiang Fan raised his hand and beckoned. The cloth shrank back to palm size and flew into his palm. A heavy, weighty sensation and an inexplicable oppressive pressure surged over him. He could clearly feel that the cloth was different from before. If he were to throw it down, it would definitely unleash an unimaginably vast pressure. "I'll study how to use this cloth properly later," Jiang Fan muttered, then turned his gaze to the many spiritual objects planted on the purple crystal mine. He didn't know the origin of this purple crystal mine, yet despite the lack of supreme breath soil, strange, innately favored spiritual objects could grow here. If I add some breath soil in, will the plants grow faster? Thinking it over, Jiang Fan sprinkled a handful of breath soil into every recess where spiritual objects were growing, especially that bizarre plant that could produce shoes. He sprinkled several extra handfuls on it. In the end, looking at the recess that had once nurtured the black divine wood, he pondered and took the divine wood back out. He'd obtained this divine wood over a month ago. Given the nurturing ability of breath soil, it had to have been cultivated for at least 100 years. But it had only produced a single purple tender leaf, and after that, there had been no changes. This made Jiang Fan suspect that the divine wood might also require the nurturing of the purple crystal or pondering. He reinserted the divine wood into the purple crystal mine, then sprinkled a pile of breath soil over it. Two-pronged approach, he'd see whether the divine wood would change. To Jiang Fan's surprise, right after he finished arranging the breath soil, that purple sprout actually twitched, slowly unfurling. So it really does need the combined effect of purple crystal ore and breath soil. Jiang Fan was thoroughly astonished. What shocked him even more was that at the cross-section of the black divine wood, a faint layer of black liquid slowly seeped out. Jiang Fan instinctively reached out to touch it, but remembering the pain when the divine wood had clubbed him, he quickly pulled his hand back. Could it be that the source of the headache from the divine wood smashing people is related to these secretions? I'll need to find someone willing to give it a try. The Black Dragon Venerable it is. He'll definitely be willing. He carefully scraped off the black secretion with a jade shard and stored it in a small jade box. Then he took out a piece of heart-devouring soul grass, planted it in an empty groove, and finally sprinkled it with a handful of breath soil. He wanted to compare the difference between things cultivated with the combination of purple crystal ore and breath soil versus just breath soil. After finishing these tasks, he left the cave satisfied and returned to the outside world. Jiang Fan? Just as he emerged, he heard the furious roar of the Black Dragon Venerable. Steadying his gaze, he saw the Black Dragon Venerable's eyes bulging, bloodshot, and overflowing with monstrous hatred. Jiang Fan had truly succeeded in opening his cave. "Oh, your memory is back," Jiang Fan said in surprise. The Forgotten Dust Flower has very limited effects on someone at the Great Venerable level. The Black Dragon Venerable angrily shouted, "Jiang Fan, my lifetime's accumulation was used by you, this little brat, as a wedding garment." "I am unwilling," Jiang Fan replied seriously. "Indeed, just leaving a cave for me, you think it's not enough." "I understand, let's make arrangements." He took out a small jade box, selected a hair-thin strand of viscous liquid, and said, "I just got something new and want to find someone to try it out." The Black Dragon Venerable surely would be willing, right? The Black Dragon Venerable's pupils contracted. As soon as the secretion came out, his soul felt intense unease. "Take it away, get it away quickly." Jiang Fan smiled faintly. "It's all right, try it and you might just die." With a flick of his finger, the soul-capturing lock brought the Black Dragon Venerable over. Amidst his resisting roars, Jiang Fan dripped the secretion onto his soul. Generally, objects effective on the soul can act directly on the soul's essence. This strand of secretion fell onto the Black Dragon Venerable's soul and immediately fused with it. The previously defiant Black Dragon Venerable immediately let out heart-wrenching screams, his soul writhing violently. "Ah, what is this?" he shrieked horribly. If not for the soul-capturing lock pinning him down, he would have been rolling on the ground. Jiang Fan watched in astonishment. The divine wood striking the heavenly human 5 declines Great Venerate individually never had such an effect. For example, the Ice Heart Venerate had been struck by him once before, and she only stomped in pain. Where was this soul-crushing agony? As predicted, the pain-inducing effect of the divine wood comes from the black secretion before him. It was a significant discovery. Next, more black secretion could be collected for use in battles with ancient giants. For example, apply it to a magic artifact and stab an ancient giant. Wouldn't it cause explosive pain on the spot? "Ah!" The Black Dragon Venerable's screams intensified. Kill me now." Even a veteran Great Venerate suffered unbearable pain. What would happen if this was used on younger Great Venerables like the Butterfly Fairy or Ice Heart Venerate? Watching the Black Dragon Venerable howl in agony, Jiang Fan lost interest in further tormenting him, and a soul-shocking stab entered his body. With a thud, The Black Dragon Venerable's soul was extinguished. Finally, an underlying danger has been resolved. Jiang Fan exhaled gently. Having eliminated the remnant soul of the Black Dragon Venerable and obtained his cave, a weight was lifted from his mind. Next, he had a very important matter to attend to. He sat cross-legged, focused his mind, and in his palm appeared a necklace missing its pendant. This was not just any item. It was a world artifact obtained from the remains of a 10,000 Earth saint inside the Sumeru divine prison. The heart of 10,000 Earths. Unfortunately, its body had been tampered with, and the pendant was missing. Thus, the world artifact was only half complete. He tried to activate it, hoping it might work like the execution pen, but the necklace remained unresponsive. Such a good world artifact ruined like this, Jiang Fan murmured in pain. The Sumeru divine prison had been entered by many, who the pendant landed with remains unknown. Finding it was like looking for a needle in a haystack. Putting away the heart of 10,000 Earths, Jiang Fan took out the divine moon fruit and the Moon Palace legacy. He was very interested in the Moon Palace legacy, especially the third chapter, Moon and Mountains. It allows pinpoint attacks on distant enemies through the moon. However, lacking moonlight power, he had been unable to cultivate it. Now with a divine moon fruit, according to Yun He Li Xian, those practicing the path of moonlight accumulated moonlight power over 1,000 years to reach such an extent. This equaled the accumulation of a sage. Being cautious, he didn't dare eat it all, only taking a small bite. A sweet juice burst in his mouth, transforming into gentle yet surging strength that flowed through his body. His eyes, hair, fur, and skin all radiated moonlight. From afar, he looked like a moonlit figure. Just one bite and the moonlight power is overflowing. Jiang Fan clicked his tongue, setting down the divine moon fruit, and quickly opened the Moon Palace legacy to begin cultivation. On the distant mountaintop, Moon Venerate sat cross-legged, forming seals with her hands resting on her knees. Now was a time when the moon's light was strongest, with few stars in the sky. As she activated her cultivation technique, strands of imperceptible moonlight power gathered around her, condensing into a faint moonlight glow. She showed a satisfied expression. No wonder it's an improved cultivation technique by the virtuous Leng Yue. It absorbs moonlight power 20% faster than before. Raising her hand, she caught a wisp of moonlight power surrounding her, coalescing it into a piece the size of a melon seed. She tossed it into her waist pocket, which already contained 100 pieces of moonlight the size of melon seeds. This much moonlight power is enough to repay Jiang Fan for the spirit grass's gratitude. I can leave the heavenly mechanism pavilion and return to the Moon Palace. But now, her eyes showed struggle. Her pupils alternated between moonlit and normal brown. You're not allowed to leave, Chen Silin's soul resisted. She had just returned to Jiang Fan. How could she bear to leave again? Moon Venerate's tone remained flat. It's better to leave. I'm truly worried that one day I'll wake up lying naked next to Jiang Fan. Chen Silin hummed. My husband wouldn't let you leave. Moon Venerate smiled faintly. He wouldn't before, but now it's uncertain. He took my Moon Palace's Moon Palace legacy. I'm sure he can't wait to cultivate it. And to cultivate this chapter, moonlight power is needed, and I have what he requires. Chen Silin scoffed. He wouldn't sell me out for a cultivation technique. Moon Venerate said calmly, really? Then would he agree to let you come out less each day? You. Chen Silin's heart hung apprehensive. Moon Venerate smiled knowingly. Don't have overly high expectations for Jiang Fan. As women, we should rely on ourselves more. She stepped lightly, her fairy clothes fluttering, cool and noble. The next moment, she appeared in front of Jiang Fan's chamber room. Just as she was about to knock, suddenly, the door blew apart with a boom. A massive black moon appeared in the chamber, transforming into countless arcs of black light shooting in all directions. The chamber couldn't withstand it, and shattered into pieces on the spot. Moon Venerate hurriedly waved away the approaching black moonlight, watching Jiang Fan sitting in the chamber, almost unable to believe her eyes. The Moon Palace Legacy, second chapter, Great Dark Moon. Moon Venerate was briefly dazed, feeling as if she'd returned to the Moon Palace in a dream. There was actually someone outside the Moon Palace who'd cultivated the Moon Palace Legacy to the second layer. This couldn't be right. Back then, when she cultivated to the second layer, she had saved up over 100 years' worth of moonlight power. For Silver Moon Venerable to cultivate to this chapter had also consumed a great deal of Cold Moon Sage's accumulated moonlight power. But Jiang Fan, where did he get such a vast amount of moonlight power? The huge commotion around him also startled Jiang Fan awake. Cultivating it isn't all that difficult. It's just that moonlight power is rather hard for normal people to obtain. After cultivating for half the night, he had successfully cultivated to the second layer. Give him another half night, and there would be no problem reaching the third layer. Noticing someone approaching, he looked up and saw it was Moon Venerate, and his eyes lit up. "You came at just the right time. I was looking for you." Moon Venerate stared at him in shock and doubt, asking, "What is it?" Jiang Fan took out the divine moon fruit he'd gnawed into a pitted mess from his bosom. After cultivating to the second layer, he hadn't actually eaten much, just gnawed all over the surface. He'd eaten less than 20%. "I want to use this fruit to make a trade with you," Jiang Fan said, weighing it in his hand. Moon Venerate lifted her eyes to look. Seeing the fruit chewed into such a state, she showed a look of distaste. "Who wants something you've already bitten?" "Wait." She suddenly sensed something was off, hurried over in a few strides, and carefully felt it out. Strands of moonlight power so abundant they made her doubt reality were emanating from the fruit. Just the moonlight power leaking out already surpassed the moonlight power she'd accumulated over these past days. This. "What is this?" Jiang Fan said. "A divine moon fruit. It contains 1,000 years' worth of moonlight power. After I'm done cultivating the Moon Palace legacy, more than half of it should still be left. In the spirit of not wasting food, I want to transfer it to you. In exchange, you'll let Chen Silin come out for half a day every day." She'd just been planning to repay him by letting Chen Silin come out less. And yet Jiang Fan wanted Chen Silin to come out more. "No!" Moon Venerate refused. Jiang Fan hefted the divine moon fruit. "Then this fruit." Moon Venerate's red lips pressed together slightly, a look of desire flashing in her eyes. For those who walked the path of lunar radiance, sufficient moonlight power could serve as the breakthrough opportunity for the divinity transformation realm. The moonlight power contained in half a divine moon fruit was at least a 500-year accumulation. It was enough for her to break through to the heavenly human 5 declines realm. On top of that, she was rebuilding through possession, and her comprehension of the divinity transformation realm was already complete. She only lacked resources to break through. With this fruit, she could reach the heavenly human 5 declines in an extremely short time. If everything went well, she might even break through before the expedition to the heavenly realm and take part in this round of merit competition. Her heart pounded with excitement. She had already given up on the idea of returning to the virtuous realm in the short term, but half a divine moon fruit made her see hope again. It was just that in the future she'd have to let Chen Silin have half a day. Forget it, agree first. Once she returned to the virtuous realm, she'd find a way to repay Jiang Fan's kindness, and then immediately run. "Yes, that's the plan." "All right, I agree. From now on, Chen Silin will control the body during the day and I'll control it at night," Moon Venerate said. Jiang Fan smiled. "Deal." He picked up the divine moon fruit, took a big bite, then tossed the rest to Moon Venerate. In any case, the sooner Moon Venerate broke through to the virtuous realm, the better it would be for Chen Silin. Moon Venerate happily took the divine moon fruit and raised it to her lips, about to bite into it. But when she saw all the pits and Jiang Fan's teeth marks, she hesitated. Eating what Jiang Fan had eaten, wouldn't that be basically an indirect kiss? Jiang Fan noticed her odd behavior and rolled his eyes at her. "We've already kissed, and you're still fussing about eating something I've bitten?" Moon Venerate glared at him coquettishly, but on second thought, he had a point. Chen Silin and Jiang Fan didn't know how long they'd been kissing and nibbling each other. She herself had basically already shared kisses with Jiang Fan. What was there to fuss about? She immediately took a bite. Incomparably pure moonlight power filled her whole body at once. This surge of power, something she hadn't felt even in her past life, delighted her so much that she began cultivating on the spot. Jiang Fan swallowed the piece of fruit in his mouth and began cultivating the third layer. When the sun first rose, Jiang Fan slowly opened his eyes, a look of eagerness gleaming in them. If another silver moon venerable showed up right now, it'd be perfect for testing the power of the Moon Palace legacy. Judging by his sense of it, the power shouldn't be too shabby. Moon Venerate had also cultivated all night, her face full of excitement. She had already touched the threshold of the heavenly person 4 declines. Breaking through to the heavenly human 5 declines within 3 days was by no means impossible. She glanced at Jiang Fan, and a faintly strange feeling arose in her heart. If she were still in the Moon Palace, she'd still only be at the heavenly human 2 declines, racking her brains on how to break through to the 3 declines. But after coming to Jiang Fan's side, The heavenly human 5 declines were already right in front of her, and returning to the virtuous realm was within reach. It really proved Jiang Fan's words from back then true. What had she been so desperate about, leaving Jiang Fan and going back to the Moon Palace? Shi looked at the sky, then kept her promise, letting her soul return to her body and allowing Chen Silin to take over. Chen Silin had been paying close attention to the outside world and immediately ran over in delight, pouncing on Jiang Fan, who was sitting down, and knocking him to the ground. "Husband, from now on I can accompany you for an entire day." Jiang Fan didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Patting her back, he said, "One day I'll have you keep me company during the day and at night." Chen Silin grinned slyly. "What's the difference between keeping you company at night and during the day?" Jiang Fan said playfully, "Want to know?" His hands started wandering. Chen Silin's face flushed red. She buried her head against his chest, said nothing, and let Jiang Fan have his way, just as their breathing was growing heavier. A long-missed burst of hearty laughter broke the mood between them. Brother Jiang, I did it." From the 2 secret rooms in the distance, 2 unfamiliar experts walked out one after another. The first was a refined, middle-aged man at nascent soul 9th layer, his whole body exuding an awe-inspiring righteousness. He looked exactly the same as Jiang Wuya had before. Jiang Fan was overjoyed. After a month of nurturing, Jiang Wuya had finally cultivated the Moon Palace embryo into a complete body and successfully taken possession. Although his cultivation had fallen from heavenly person declined back down to 9 aperture nascent soul, and he'd been driven insane, with little Buddha venerable and the Buddha's Buddha beads around. Regaining the divinity transformation realm was not a problem. As for the person who came out of the neighboring secret room, Jiang Fan was stunned at the sight. It was an exceedingly beautiful woman's face, with extremely soft lines along her cheeks. Even having seen someone like Spirit Sound, who was like an immortal painting, and having an immortal beauty wife like Yun Shang, he was still dazzled by that stunningly beautiful female visage. Even Chen Silin was dumbstruck. "Who is this? Even as a woman I think she's so pretty." Only when the 2 of them looked at that person's body, they both turned to stone on the spot. It was a burly body a full zhang tall, twice the height of an ordinary person, covered all over in muscle. An angel's face and Asura's body, the massive contrast gave people a serious sense of dissonance. Jiang Fan tentatively said, "Brother Liang Feiyan, is that you?" Brother Jiang." Upon hearing Jiang Fan's inquiry, Liang Feiyan smiled radiantly, her dreamlike appearance rivaling Yun Shang's level with a soul-stirring smile. She laughed sweetly while running over, the ground humming with her footsteps. Jiang Fan's head spun with dizziness. No way, Liang Feiyan and Jiang Wuya were the same, both from identical embryos, both having the blood of the compassionate sage. How did they nurture such vastly different physiques? "Don't come closer," Jiang Fan yelled to stop her. He really couldn't accept Liang Feiyan's image. "What's wrong, brother Jiang? Isn't this physical body good?" Liang Feiyan threw an innocent look, looking pitiable. Chen Silin bit her lip, feeling somewhat uncomfortable. "Why do I feel like I've lost to a man?" Isn't he cheating?" Jiang Fan simply turned his face away, not daring to look at him, and asked with a grim face, "What's going on with you? Why have you become like this?" Liang Feiyan said helplessly, "I've fallen so much behind you all in cultivation, so I wanted to take a shortcut. Aside from the blood of the sage, I added a bit of angel blood, some Asura blood, and even some demon race blood. And it ended up like this." Jiang Fan's eyes widened, human clan, angel, Asura, and demon race. So he added every blood he could find in Central Earth. The nurtured physical body being normal would be a miracle. When he handed the embryo to Liang Feiyan, he specifically cautioned him not to blindly nourish the embryo, lest the physical body become too strong, and the soul too weak to match. Liang Feiyan listened, yet didn't listen. Jiang Fan rubbed his temples and asked, "Where did you get the angel blood?" Asura blood and demon race blood are all good, but angel blood was previously only possessed by Xia Caoj, and her angel identity was not made public. Liang Feiyan shrugged and replied, "When you were battling the young emperor, it fell from the sky." "Oh?" Jiang Fan finally understood. It should have been when Yun Wangxiao's body was blown up and some of the blood descended to Central Earth. Looking at Liang Feiyan's bizarre body, he frowned again. "Do you want this body? Better to cultivate a new embryo." Currently, Liang Feiyan has already undergone possession and cannot carry out another possession. Liang Feiyan retorted, "Don't underestimate my body." With a thought, 3 types of spirit grass appeared in his palm, used by the human clan, Asura clan, and demon race respectively. Logically, different races can only adapt to one. But Liang Feiyan swallowed them in one go, and all 3 types of spirit grass were absorbed. His aura visibly increased. Jiang Fan's eyes widened. You, he was too shocked to speak. Liang Feiyan boastfully said, "Notice now. I can use resources from all 4 races, and I can even stack the effects of resources. This means I can follow the path of nascent soul introspection from the human clan, the blood lineage path of Asura and Angel, and the hybrid path of the demon race. I will surpass peers in cultivation. Soon, I'll reach the pinnacle of life, marry a rich, beautiful woman." "Ha ha ha," Chen Silin blinked and said, "Husband, did I misunderstand? Is he now a fusion of 4 races?" Jiang Fan was stunned. "It's exactly what you think. Of course, it can also be understood as a mongrel." He held his head, feeling a bit woozy. The demon race simultaneously following the introspection and blood lineage path within all races is already a rare existence. Unexpectedly, there is yet an expert. "Brother Jiang, rest assured," Liang Feiyan patted his muscular chest. "Brotherhood is in the heart. When I achieve riches, I will definitely not forget Brother Jiang's kindness." In the heart. Jiang Fan got goosebumps, quickly waved his hand. "No, don't keep me in your heart. Also, don't stand behind me in the future." "Huh." Chen Silin blinked, then realized, covering her mouth, giggling continuously. Jiang Fan, with a dark face, took out various resources from the Asura clan, demon race, human clan, and angel clan to toss to Liang Feiyan. "Go practice on your own." Watching Liang Feiyan happily run off, Jiang Fan was slightly calmed. But when he looked at Chen Silin in his arms, with a faint blush still lingering on her face, he couldn't help but be annoyed again. There's only calling the wrong name, not giving the wrong nickname. No matter how he changes, this bothersome point can't be changed. Unable to continue the coziness, he reluctantly let go of Chen Silin, needing to first handle Jiang Wuya. Currently, Jiang Wuya's body was sparkling and full, brimming with the vigorous life force of nascent soul 9th layer perfection. Just one step away from the divinity transformation realm. Jiang Fan led him to the little Buddha Venerable's secret chamber. "Greetings to the Yansheng Buddha." Little Buddha Venerable and 5 aged bodhisattvas all rose to pay respects. They emitted a Buddha light with wisdom shining from their eyes. While owning the Buddha's Buddha beads, they reaped plenty of benefits from them. Jiang Fan said, "This is Taoist Jiang Wuya, who has retaken possession to refine anew. Guide him to clear the path, for him to return to the divinity transformation realm as soon as possible." Little Buddha Venerable clasped his hands in agreement, paused, then added, "Yansheng Buddha. There are a few deeply introspection-stuck human clan nascent souls outside the mountain gate. Why not invite them over, so the disciple can guide them all together?" The more they activated the Buddha's Buddha beads, the more this group of monks would gain from it, naturally willing to exert efforts. Jiang Fan finally remembered the mountain gate surrounded and crowded with people from various sects. His powerful divine sense swept through, subconsciously said, "I'll have the pavilion master. Forget it, I'll go myself. There are several important old acquaintances inside that need me to personally host." Outside the mountain gate, powerful figures from various sects from the other 7 states, hundreds gathered outside. Nearly all were atorifious nascent souls and their accompanying disciples. Due to the rewards from the merit divine steel, the nearly cut-off late-stage nascent soul fighters in Central Earth re-emerged as hundreds of atorifious nascent souls. Additionally, with young Master Xiang bestowing hundreds of soul-awakening divine nails to Central Earth, many have gained the qualification to charge for the 9 aperture nascent soul. They all want to advance another level with little Buddha Venerable's aid before the Heavenly Realm expedition. Among them was the Jiang family. Jiang Linyuan and his elder sister Jiang Weishuang, silently waiting among the crowd, accompanied by an elder of atorifious nascent soul newly promoted within the clan. "Brother, how about we don't trouble Senior Jiang?" Jiang Weishuang wanted to back out. They had been waiting there for 10 days, yet still had not seen Jiang Fan. Jiang Linyuan gazed at all the seeking people, revealing a bit of bitterness. Among the people here, not only were there groups from this state's 3 God sect and the 7 great teachings, but also top forces from other states. The opportunity to break through to divinity transformation is extremely rare. There is no way it would be their little Jiang family's turn. He sighed lightly. "You go back first, I'll wait a bit longer." He took out a space storage device from his arms. Inside it was an ancient arena. Precisely the outer space arena where Jiang Fan realized the no-self dust cleansing technique. Jiang Linyuan's eyes showed a trace of sorrow. Before the family head swirled to the fire worship sect's battlefield, he told us if he doesn't return, to give the arena to Jiang Fan. I will wait here to personally hand the arena to him. So both had their eyes darken. The family head, Jiang Lanjiang, along with the war corpse, remained forever on the battlefield of the fire worship sect, never to return. The late-stage nascent soul, experts in the clan, also nearly all fell in the ancient giant war before the Forbidden Land. Only an elder from the past generation with an atorifious nascent soul remains to support the clan. The initial to middle nascent soul members also fell in great numbers. The current Jiang family is lacking talents and is no longer as glorious as it was before the war. With the reshuffling pattern of Taikang state, the Jiang family has already fallen to a middling family. In another 60 years, they'll become a minor family. 100 years later, perhaps there will no longer be a Jiang family in the world. Just like many families that have disappeared in the river of history, the Jiang family will also become something buried in the dust, forgotten by people. It's all right, our Jiang family lacks the strength to fight in the heavenly realm, so let us offer the stage to Senior Jiang. Hopefully, it can help him carry on the family head's will and continue the fight against the ancient giants. Uncle Nine, let's go. Jiang Waishuang and the elders of the clan rose into the air, preparing to leave. At this moment, the crowd suddenly stirred. It's Starfair Venerable. Starfair Venerable is here. The crowd surged forward, and Jiang Linyuan was slightly pleased and hurriedly rushed forward as well. But as soon as he got up, he was knocked aside by the late-stage nascent soul members of Divine Movement Sect. Move aside, don't block the way. Jiang Linyuan was knocked back, his blood and chi swirling, and he fell from midair. Fortunately, Jiang Waishuang and Uncle Nine from the clan rushed over in time to catch him. Uncle Nine glared angrily, wanting to scold them, but was stopped by Jiang Linyuan raising a hand. No, I'm fine. The current Jiang family is not suitable for conflicts with the 3 God sect and the 7 major sects. A little grievance, just endure it, absolutely cannot offend people. Let's wait a while. After Senior Jiang has met with others, we'll come forward to pay our respects. Jiang Linyuan was speaking when his arm was suddenly gripped by a strong hand, helping him up. Looking up, Jiang Linyuan said in surprise, Senior Jiang. Uncle Nine's expression changed, and he hurriedly bowed in salute. There was a complicated look in Jiang Waishuang's eyes, recalling when Jiang Fan took her on a trip to the southern heavenly realm. He was still in the initial period of the nascent soul realm. At that time, the gap between the two was not far. Now, the other party has reached the divinity transformation realm and even defeated the young emperor, Central Earth's #1 divinity transformation. She can no longer even see the end when looking up to him. She put away her past casual behavior and immediately bowed respectfully. This junior greets Senior Jiang. Jiang Fan sighed silently. The old friends of the past have been drifting further and further away. He helped the 3 of them up, saying, You 2 siblings need not be so formal with me. This elder of the Jiang family with an atorifious nascent soul is also here to seek the way to divinity transformation. Right, do you have the soul awakening divine nails? Uncle Nine was flattered and quickly said, I do, thank you for your concern, Senior Jiang. Jiang Fan nodded. Prepare to break through to the 9 aperture nascent soul. I'll take you in shortly. Thank you, Senior Jiang, thank you. Uncle Nine was overwhelmed with excitement. No one expected Jiang Fan to ignore the big powers and first help their Jiang family. Jiang Linyuan was slightly choked up, bowing again. Thank you. Jiang Fan patted his shoulder. I should personally go to the Jiang family to lend a hand to the late-stage nascent soul members. Letting you seek me out and wait for me is my fault. Jiang Lanjiang, with his 7 orifice nascent soul body, commanded the war corps through 3 major battles, turning the tide multiple times. If it hadn't been for him, the outcome of a battle in Taikang state would be uncertain. The Jiang family contributed greatly, yet the clan declined because of it. How could he bear to stand by and watch? Junior brother Jiang, if you're not averse, why not move the Jiang family to Kingly Mountain? I can allocate a territory for your Jiang family beside the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion to resettle. Upon hearing this, the 3 members of the Jiang family were overjoyed beyond words. The Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion is the top sect in Taikang State. No, it's ranked among the top in all of Central Earth. With such a super sect sheltering them, why would the Jiang family worry about not being able to revive? Jiang Waishuang was so overjoyed, she burst into tears and was about to kneel before Jiang Fan. Thank you, Senior Jiang, for your great kindness. Jiang Fan casually waved, using chi force to support her, saying, You siblings should go prepare your family. This elder from the Jiang family will come with me back to the mountain gate. Jiang Linyuan nodded repeatedly in excitement and was about to leave when Jiang Weishuang suddenly remembered and raised her hand to give him a knock on the forehead. How could you forget the main task? Only then did Jiang Linyuan remember, quickly taking out a space storage device from his chest, saying, Senior Jiang, this is what the family had instructed us to give you before heading to battle at the fire worship sect. Jiang Fan took it, and his pupils couldn't help but contract. An ancient arena. He had gone on twice, cultivating the first layer and second layer of the no-self dust-cleansing technique. Only the third layer remains unpracticed. Jiang Linyuan knew that going to the fire worship sect was fraught with peril, so he entrusted the arena and the Jiang family to him. Jiang Fan's gaze trembled, and he put away the storage device, saying, Thank you. Before the expedition to the heavenly realm, let's go to the cemetery together to pay respects to Elder Jiang. Jiang Linyuan and Jiang Weishuang nodded with tears in their eyes, bowing and leaving. The powerful figures of each state remained silent. It's no wonder that in Taikang State, from ordinary martial artists to those at the Great Wine Sacrifice, all admire Jiang Fan so much. Setting aside strength, who wouldn't sincerely respect a king who shows compassion to the weak and cares for the descendants of merit? Jiang Fan scanned them, seeing Song Lingyu in the crowd, also known as Hua Wying's master. Seeing Jiang Fan's gaze on her, she awkwardly said, Don't misunderstand, I'm here to take my disciple home. Jiang Fan smiled. Then come on over. Song Lingyu's heart pounded wildly, meaning she could also experience the so-called guidance and try to reach the divinity transformation realm. The strong who understand the relationship between Song Lingyu and Jiang Fan secretly slapped their thighs. How am I any worse than her, just short of a beautiful disciple to inherit? This woman who relies on her disciple's prestige ran into such a good disciple, what dumb luck. Amidst envious and jealous gazes, Song Lingyu excitedly approached Jiang Fan's side. Jiang Fan then looked at the others. He first selected late-stage nascent soul members from sects within Taikang State, followed by those from Great Wilderness State, Dan State, and Divine Weapon State. Finally, he selected people from the Demon Continent and Returning Ruins State. Altogether, he chose about 20 people. If all went well, Central Earth could gain 20 more in the divinity transformation realm. He glanced at the remaining late-stage nascent soul members and waved his hand, saying, The opportunity for divinity transformation is limited. You all disperse. No one dared to have the slightest complaint. And besides, those Jiang Fan selected were either those who made great contributions during the ancient giant war for Taikang State, or were from sects extremely close to Jiang Fan. So they had no words. After dismissing everyone, Jiang Fan led the 20 into the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion just as he was about to leave. A group of sage-level auras appeared out of thin air behind him. A calm and emotionless voice lightly sounded. Starfear Venerable, haven't you left us waiting long enough? No need to turn back. Jiang Fan already knew who it was. He waved at the rebellious guy and little tiger at the mountain gate. You too, take them to little Buddha Venerate's secret chamber. The two little spirit beasts obeyed and left. Jiang Fan stayed behind alone and turned to face them. At the forefront was a female Asura Empress in a red robe, with a restrained aura that gave an oppressive sense as calm as a mountain. Her figure was graceful, her appearance not astonishing but still considered beautiful. The most distinctive feature was her calm gaze, exuding a sense of composure that remained unchanged even if the world collapsed. Compared to the 10 Asura emperors behind her who glared at Jiang Fan with fury and turbulent auras. The female Asura Empress in front of him made him feel a slight pressure instead. His intuition told him that this female Asura Empress was not simple. Who is the Asura Empress using the peace monument to serve our Central Earth? Jiang Fan asked, his eyes still on the female Asura Empress in front of him. The Asura Empress took out an eye-sized Asura holy blood, radiating a soul-crushing holy power. Jiang Fan squinted his eyes, so this was the opportunity promised by the Hell Realm to break through to the Asura Emperor right. Currently in Central Earth, there are 2 Asura kings awaiting a breakthrough. One is Dongfang Canyu, the other is Green Pearl. But there is only one opportunity. No worries, just have Dog Bowl replicate it, though it would be necessary to trouble a certain unlucky boundary master as a sacrifice once again. You must be the exchanged Asura Empress. Jiang Fan scrutinized the female Asura Empress, saying, What's your name? Qingjiu, the female Asura Empress replied calmly and composedly. Jiang Fan said, "Do you know the significance of your coming to Central Earth?" Qingjiu replied indifferently, "I know from now on I am a slave of Central Earth to be driven as they wish." "Are you going to put a shackle on me?" Jiang Fan chuckled. He somewhat liked this female Asura Empress, as talking with her felt effortless without the need for unnecessary words. This feeling was somehow familiar. He shook his head and said, "Not necessary for now. There's no need for precautions against you until our interests diverge." Qingjiu looked at Jiang Fan with a slight curve on her lips. "Thank you." Their communication was simple and swift, putting both at ease. Jiang Fan took the Asura holy blood from her hand and then looked toward the 10 Asura emperors. "You must be here to exchange for the remnant soul of the Yellow Springs Realm Master, right?" An older, burly Asura emperor said with a somber face. "Human clan, let our Yellow Springs Realm Master go and we 10 shall stay as hostages." Jiang Fan shrugged. "Don't insult my intelligence with such talk. Release her, and you 10 Asura emperors can walk away scot-free. What can I do about you then?" Without waiting for the Asura emperors to ask, Jiang Fan straightforwardly pointed to the sky. "I want you to join our Central Earth in attacking the Southern Heavenly Realm." "What?" The 10 Asura emperors were taken aback in unison, attacking the Heavenly Realm, Central Earth. The last time the Hell Realm attacked the Heavenly Realm was 10,000 years ago. For their generation, it was a distant legend. Yet this small Central Earth world dared to attack the Heavenly Realm. This audacity was hard not to be impressed by. But dragging the Asura emperors of the Hell Realm along, why should they go? What if they don't go? Could Jiang Fan really kill the Yellow Springs Realm Master's remnant soul? "We won't," the old Asura emperor began to say, but was interrupted by Qingjiu. "Go! We will all go." "What?" The 10 Asura emperors all turned their gazes to Qingjiu, frowning. "The attack on the Heavenly Realm by Central Earth has nothing to do with our Hell Realm. We have no obligation to participate." "Are you out of your mind, agreeing so hastily?" Qingjiu looked towards the sky, her eyes calm and profound. "Look further in everything. The ancient giant is a common enemy of Hell and Central Earth. We can fight each other privately, but we must unite against the ancient giant. The ancient giant of the Southern Heavenly Realm suffered a major defeat in Central Earth, falling into the weakest state ever. If our two realms join forces, we can eliminate the once strongest enemy with minimal cost." Jiang Fan watched Qingjiu with a smile. This female Asura Empress was more and more to his liking. With his hands behind his back, he said, "I haven't finished talking. Releasing the Yellow Springs Realm Master's remnant soul is just one of the rewards. I have another reward, which is to tell you about a secret realm with a complete saint's remains." "What?" The 10 Asura Emperors' expressions changed dramatically. Even Qingjiu's eyes showed considerable fluctuation. A saint's remains are a rare find across the 100 realms of all heavens. Tongyuan Realm Master and Yellow Springs Realm Master both await a saint's remains. If they could return with intelligence about the secret realm, one can hardly imagine how the two realm masters would reward them in their joy. Bestow some insights that could make their power of cause and effect rise to a higher level, certainly not difficult. The 10 exchanged a glance, and the older Asura Emperor said, "Fine, we'll go. However, we will only follow Qingjiu's orders, not those of your human clan. If the human clan army used them as cannon fodder, that would be amusing." Jiang Fan smiled slightly. "Agreed, but everything is premised on the victory of this battle. If we lose, I and the Yellow Springs Realm Master's remnant soul will perish in the Southern Heavenly Realm." The older Asura Emperor said, "Rest assured, since we have agreed to join the battle, we will try our utmost." Jiang Fan smiled. "Then welcome the 10 Asura Emperor seniors from the Hell Realm. Please enter my Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion for a detailed discussion." The 11 Asura Emperors followed Jiang Fan into the main hall and settled the details of attacking the Heavenly Realm. Jiang Fan felt a weight lift halfway from his heart. With 11 Asura Emperors secured, the next step was to await the sages from beyond the heavens. If 10 more sages could be brought in, attacking the Southern Heavenly Realm would be unstoppable. The 1,000-year mission of Central Earth is bound to be achieved. Afterward, Jiang Fan arranged them in various secret chambers. To prevent disturbing the cultivation of the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion's people, he instructed the Asura Emperors not to leak their aura. Having settled them, Jiang Fan returned to his own secret chamber. He first took out Dog Bowl and decisively tossed in the eye-sized Asura holy blood. As the light spread, a brand new, similarly sized Asura holy blood emerged. It looked gleaming and seemingly fresh. With this, there are 2 Usura Emperor opportunities. Later I'll find Green Pearl and Dongfang Canyu. Jiang Fan stored the Usura Holy Blood, then took out the platform entrusted to him by Jiang Lanjiang. Senior, thank you. The merit of destroying the southern heavenly realm will count as one for your Jiang family. He took a deep breath and leaped onto the platform. The 3rd layer of no-self dust cleansing technique, its invisibility effect works even on sages. Unless encountered by an ultimate existence like the 3 Calamities realm or the 9-day giant emperor, it should be hard to discover him. Jiang Lanjiang left him a great gift indeed. He closed his eyes and silently comprehended the 3rd layer. Meanwhile, anguished screams erupted from the Hell Realm's other Shore Realm master. Which damned bastard are you? Aren't you done yet? You're going to drain me dry. 2 days later, a man with delicate facial features wearing a long robe emerged from the transmission array, accompanied by a young girl. Her hair cascaded down to her shoulders, her slender figure adorned in a light green long robe gently lifted by the breeze, reminiscent of a willow by the riverside, stirring a sense of tenderness. She gazed down at the heavenly mechanism pavilion, eagerly searching for something. At this moment, the Xianxia first-class building owner appeared before them, sensing their presence and bowed deeply. Greetings, 9 Nether Elder. The visitors were none other than 9 Nether Demon Venerable and Ling Shu. 9 Nether Demon Venerable nodded lightly, his gaze sweeping past little Buddha Venerate's chamber, showing a hint of astonishment. As his gaze moved past Qing Jiu and others' chambers, he clearly sensed something, revealing a trace of bewilderment. Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion has barely been established for half a year, hasn't it? If Jiang keeps meddling like this, how will other states fare in Central Earth? He originally came to fulfill Ling Shu's request to protect her return to the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion. Unexpectedly, the pavilion delivered him a shocking revelation. Where is the boy? 9 Nether Demon Venerables scanned the surroundings, but could not detect Jiang Fan's presence. The Xianxia first-class building owner replied, Jiang Fan is currently in closed cultivation. 9 Nether Demon Venerable frowned slightly, still in seclusion. Today is the great wine sacrifice which should gather all the strong in Central Earth to finalize the expedition to the heavenly realm. Moreover, my disciple has long wished to see him. Please ask him to come out. Ling Shu's crystalline eyes dimmed. Finally making a trip here only to find Jiang Fan in seclusion. Upon hearing her master ask Jiang Fan to come out, she quickly replied, Master, it's all right. Actually, I don't really want to see him. As she spoke, her waist suddenly tightened, embraced by strong hands drawing her into a warm, broad chest. Ah, she instinctively screamed, unable to react before Jiang Fan's teasing voice reached her ear. Oh, you really don't want to see me? Ah, brother, Ling Shu turned around excitedly, but behind her was only air. 9 Nether Demon Venerable also turned to look, displaying surprise. Because from his perspective, he couldn't see Jiang Fan either. He could barely discern Jiang Fan's presence simply by sensing the aura he released. What an astounding invisibility technique! 9 Nether Demon Venerable exclaimed in amazement. If you concealed your aura and stayed motionless, I might not have detected you. He was, after all, a disaster realm sage, mastering the heaven and earth laws. His perception of all things transcended the senses, reaching the realm of laws. Jiang Fan being able to block his perception was indeed somewhat terrifying. Thinking it over, he retrieved the black Techu seed. Previously in the void, Jiang Fan had secretly left him the seed to deal with the 7-day giant emperor, but he couldn't bear to use it. I'll return this to you. He tossed the seed over, and Jiang Fan, having dispelled the no-self dust cleansing technique to reveal his form, caught it. Jiang Fan's eyes showed a hint of joy. With this Techu seed, along with his formidable invisibility technique, if he takes opponents by surprise, there's definitely hope to strike down a giant emperor or an inferior sage. Brother is amazing. Ling Shu's eyes sparkled, speaking sweetly. In terms of emotional value, she's fully invested. Jiang Fan smiled warmly. I'll show you something even more impressive, okay? Ling Shu had spent quite some time in the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion, influenced by its ethos. How could she not know that her wonderful brother can fight for 3 days and 3 nights straight? Her face flushed instantly, whispering softly, We'll see here? Of course. Jiang Fan held onto her hand and moved it into his chest. Ling Shu's heart nearly leapt outside. Her master was still present. But soon she grasped something cold in her hand. Pulled it out to find it was a space storage device. Ling Shu paused. Is this what you meant by something impressive? Jiang Fan grinned knowingly. Otherwise, what were you thinking? Ling Shu then realized she had been teased by Jiang Fan, softly stomping her foot. Brother is so naughty. Jiang Fan laughed heartily and said, look inside to see what it contains. Ling Shu then picked up the space storage device, glancing inside to discover strands of golden blood. Each strand emitted a pure and overwhelming demon saint aura, instigating an irrepressible yearning as a member of the demon race. Demon saint blood? Ling Shu's crystalline eyes widened in shock. Jiang Fan embraced her, speaking softly. The void is an endless path. You can use them slowly on your journey. Consider them my parting gift to you. As it turns out, Jiang Fan had been preparing for her departure. These demon saint blood, even to 9 nether demon venerable, are exceptionally rare treasures that Jiang Fan must have spent significant effort obtaining. Tears glistened in Ling Shu's eyes. She regretted agreeing to 9 nether demon venerable's proposal to venture into the void. Brother, Ling Shu murmured emotionally. Jiang Fan patted her head, saying, follow 9 nether elder and train well. I hope there will be a time for us to meet again. Ling Shu's tears shimmered, wrapping her arms around Jiang Fan's waist, deeply nestled in his embrace. 1,000 words unspoken. After a while in each other's arms, the heavenly mechanism pavilion token at Jiang Fan's waist suddenly rang. Taking a look, it was a notification from Taikang State's Great Wine Sacrifice, relaying messages to all martial artists in Taikang State. All martial artists above nascent soul realm gather in the heavenly state in half a day. Jiang Fan understood. It was to finalize the expedition plans to the heavenly realm. It was believed that other states' great wine sacrifices would have informed everyone too. Half a day left. His mind reflected on the many matters before the impending battle, most of which had been settled in recent days. Including over the past 2 days, he not only perfected the 3rd layer of the no-self dust cleansing technique, but also successfully mastered the soul transfer skill gifted by Star Night Sage. He even absorbed the throne left by the young emperor. The one remaining task was the negotiation over the peace monument. That was of utmost importance. He bowed to 9 nether demon venerable and Jiangshan first-class building owner. 9 nether elder, nameless elder. I request your escort for a trip to the beyond. I have a transaction to do with guests from Otherworld. 9 nether demon venerable nodded. Sure. Having dealing with those stationed beyond the void, wouldn't the sages of Central Earth be well aware? He raised his hand, slicing open the void. Jiang Fan released Ling Shu's hand and said, wait for me at the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion. Then, under the escort of 9 nether demon venerable and nameless sage, he stepped into the void once again. Their arrival immediately attracted the attention of Great Dream Demon Venerable and other formidable figures from Otherworld, who gathered around. Compared to the 20+ during the fight with the young emperor, now over 40 had gathered. All were sage realm experts. It seemed the allure of the peace monument was stronger than imagined. However, Kiki still hadn't arrived. An agreed month yet almost overdue, and still claiming to be a black merchant. Never mind her for now. It's best to complete the transactions with sages from 100 realms of all heavens first. Jiang Fan, release my son, Great Dream Demon Venerable said sternly. 9 nether demon venerable and nameless sage stood vigilant, guarding Jiang Fan. This one was a genuine 3 calamities realm sage. Jiang Fan, calm and unafraid, stepped in and separated the 9 nether demon venerable and venerable nameless. You 2 seniors can rest easy. He's the last person you need to worry about. As for who most wanted Jiang Fan dead, that was actually hard to say. The ones who wanted him dead could probably line up from Central Earth all the way to outer heaven. But if it was about who least wanted him to die, the Great Dream Demon Venerable was definitely near the top of that list. Because once Jiang Fan died, his precious son, trapped inside the Tai Chu prison Sky Gourd, might never see the sun again. Jiang Fan looked at the Great Dream Demon Venerable and smiled. Relax, your son is doing very well. Right now, if he wants safety, he's got safety. If he wants freedom, he's got safety. If he wants enjoyment, he's got safety. In short, nothing to worry about. The Great Dream Demon Venerable was furious to the point of laughter, so all he's got left is safety, is that it? He said in a low voice, what will it take for you to release my son? Jiang Fan said, let me finish doing business with these honored guests first, then we'll discuss your son's situation. The Great Dream Demon Venerable's face darkened, but he didn't keep pressing, because he was just as determined to obtain the peace monument. The current ancient demon realm was still suffering the onslaught of the dark creatures. With this peace monument, Not only could the ancient demon realm immediately escape its predicament, it could also avoid the invasion 1,000 years from now. No price was too high for that. Seeing everyone crowding in, with some of them even carrying ambiguous looks in their eyes, Jiang Fan chuckled and said, "You don't actually think I'm going to carry the peace monument around and negotiate with several dozen sages one by one, do you?" Any one sage making a move wasn't something Jiang Fan could withstand, let alone more than 40. One sage snorted. "Then what gives you the right to negotiate with us? Have the one who holds the peace monument come out and talk." At that moment, from the central earth world behind him came the unified voices of the 9 great wine sacrifice priests. "He has the right because he is Jiang Fan of Central Earth." A slit of void split open in the barrier of the central earth world, and the 9 great wine sacrifice priests stood in a row, side by side within the world. They said nothing, yet emanated an exceptionally unique aura that made many sages' faces show wariness. Thinking back to how the 9 great wine sacrifice priests had joined forces to condense a colossal phantom and contend against the chaotic ancient blood marquis, the ill-intentioned sages each suppressed their urge to snatch by force. Watching this scene, Jiang Fan felt something stir in his heart. The central earth world was also full of competition. Competition between provinces, contests between sects, and struggles between individuals. But all of that took place within the rules set by the 9 Kinshin bureaus. Though there was a cruel side to it, there was order in the end. The 100 realms of all heavens were different. No power could set unified rules for every world. The only universally acknowledged rule was, the weak are meat, the strong eat. If he didn't have Central Earth at his back, the peace monument in his hands wouldn't be a bargaining chip, but a source of disaster inviting his death. Drawing his thoughts back, Jiang Fan looked at the 40 sages before him and said, neither humble nor arrogant, "If there are no objections, I'll announce the rules." HMPH. The great dream demon venerable snorted through his nose. "There's only one peace monument. Whoever offers the highest price gets it. What other new rules could there be?" The 9 great wine sacrifice priests, the 9 nether demon venerable, and the rest of the central earth sages also looked at Jiang Fan with a hint of surprise. Indeed, there was only one peace monument. Could Jiang Fan really pull some new trick out of it? "Who said I'm only selling the peace monument?" Jiang Fan smiled slightly. "I'm not just selling it, I'm renting it out as well." Rent. The sages began to ponder. What did he mean by rent? They heard Jiang Fan say with narrowed, smiling eyes, "I already asked the owner of the ancient wilderness hunting ground on your behalf. The peace monument can be used repeatedly. As long as it's within the 1,000-year period, it remains effective. So, I plan to make 2 deals with the peace monument. One is to offer some cash-strapped senior sages a chance to lease it. As long as you pay enough, the peace monument can be sent to your world to drive out the dark creatures. The other deal is a sale. Whoever bids the highest becomes the true owner of the peace monument. Of course, the premise is that all leaseholders must finish using it before it is handed over to the buyer. After all, a sale doesn't override a lease." The moment he finished speaking, it triggered an uproar. "What? You plan to rent it out again before you sell it? Is this something a human could come up with? You're trying to eat off the same monument twice. Even Kiki of the Sin Realm never pulled something like this. You're the kind of guy who can take a chunk of pork belly and stir-fry it into 18 different dishes, aren't you?" This round of earth-shattering statements really taught the Outer Heaven sages a lesson. Even the sages from Central Earth couldn't help the twitch at the corners of their mouths. Jiang Fan really had played a new trick with the peace monument. Jiang Fan clasped his hands behind his back and said blandly, "Trade is voluntary. I'm not forcing anyone. If you think it's unreasonable, you can wait for the next ancient wilderness hunt and see if any world is willing to lease or sell its peace monument." The boiling Outer Heaven sages then finally let their protests die down. The ancient wilderness hunt was held once every 1,000 years. Each generation had its first-place winner. But the only one to put a peace monument up for sale and lease was Jiang Fan. Once the clamor subsided, Jiang Fan finally smiled and said, "Now, let's begin discussing external leasing." As many as 20 sages were tempted, because in their worlds, the invasion of the ancient dark creatures had not yet ended. If they couldn't buy the peace monument, paying a certain price to use it once would still make this trip worthwhile. Jiang Fan said, "For each lease, I have 2 conditions. First, your world must send 1 sage to help Central Earth capture the southern heavenly realm, and you must win." Hearing this, the 20 sages from the various worlds all frowned. The other sages were also taken aback. The great dream demon venerable sneered, "Do you even know what you're saying? For the past 10,000 years, only the ancient dark creatures have been eroding world after world. No world has ever been reclaimed. Even the divine capital couldn't pull it off back then, let alone a little central Earth like yours. The 20 sages who had planned to lease also shook their heads. You people from Central Earth are being far too unrealistic. The ancient dark creatures that each world must face are calculated through some precise providential arithmetic. They are at least twice the strength of that world. Being able to block an invasion that comes every 1,000 years already takes the collective effort of the entire world, plus aid from the owner of the ancient wilderness hunting ground. And Central Earth still wants to counterattack the ancient giants? Leaving aside the divine capital and the 4 great realms, the number of worlds that had truly repelled invasions by ancient dark creatures under their own power was pitifully small. Even if they barely managed a victory, their yuan energy would be severely depleted. What strength would they have left to launch a counterattack? Back then, the divine capital, martial vault, Sin Realm, Nankian, and the heavenly court had all tried to annihilate the world from which the dark creatures invading them originated, hoping to end things once and for all. In the end, they all failed for unknown reasons. Central Earth must have only barely won its war against the ancient giants because Jiang Fan seized the peace monument, right? With that little strength, he wanted to go fight giants. How was that possible? This was pure fantasy. Oh, Jiang Fan's eyes showed surprise. Are the ancient dark creatures of each world really so difficult to extinguish? Even the divine capital failed. However, so what? Jiang Fan stood with his hands behind his back, coldly saying, "The divine capital failed." In Central Earth's Confucianism, every generation stores their vast energy in the great state upon dying, continuing for thousands of years across generations. Do you know why they do this? The outer heaven sages looked indifferent. Isn't it just to leave it for the descendants, ensuring the lineage doesn't sever? What's so special about this? Confucianism isn't exclusive to your Central Earth. Our world has it too. Leaving vast energy to descendants is their routine, and it's nothing noteworthy. The outer heaven sages were unimpressed. Jiang Fan maintained a composed expression, taking a deep breath. Our Central Earth's Confucianism is different. They store vast energy in the great state, enduring over 1,000 years solely for one obsession, to explode a state, annihilate the giant's main force, and create eternal peace for future generations. The bodies of the outer heaven sages trembled collectively. Even the great dream demon Venerable put away his disdainful gaze, showing traces of shock in his eyes. Such an event could not happen in the deceitful, self-serving ancient demon realm. Different types of demons are always calculating their gains and losses. How could they possibly abandon their own clan to create a future for other clans? An aged sage solemnly respected. Is this true? Jiang Fan recalled the image of Xingyuan Venerable, old and white-haired, voice low. The last leader of Central Earth's Confucianism, Xingyuan Venerable, sacrificed his own lifespan, detonating all the vast energy, and made a great wish for the submersion of the great state, burying all the giant kings and ordinary giants eternally in the void. The outer heaven sages plunged into great shock. Their minds involuntarily depicted a dying great venerate standing on a collapsing great state, laughing, dragging countless ancient giants into the void. What kind of courage is this? And what a tragic grandeur! Using a single life to fulfill a 1,000-year wish and create eternal peace for Central Earth. This is what truly deserves the righteous spirit of Confucianism. The sage of Poison Realm, with elderly features filled with emotion. Central Earth actually has such people. No wonder such a small world can win great battles on its own. Jiang Fan shook his head, saying, "No, Xingyuan Venerable is just one of them. We have many in Central Earth willing to sacrifice themselves to create peace for Central Earth. Do such people exist in the divine capital?" The sages were all silent. Maybe there are, but definitely not as many as in Central Earth. The great dream demon Venerable looked at Central Earth, eyes showing complexity. After all, it's a world guided by the ancient saint of cloud desolation, quite different from other worlds. The people of this world are the closest to the spirit of the human clan from the glorious ancient times. They still hold noble ideals and carry the sense of mission of that era's human clan. Fortunately, only one Central Earth is left. If all human clans were like Central Earth, they would have reigned over the heavens long ago. Jiang Yishan beside them remained silent. He personally participated in the ancient giant battle, witnessing Xingyuan Venerable's submersion of the great state. He also witnessed a great venerate, at the moment of desperation, using life as the price. bearing the sage's tombstone to suppress giants and reverse the defeat. Perhaps such inspiring figures were the reason why young Master Xiang ultimately gave up competing with Jiang Fan for the Peace Monument. This world is one yearned by all creatures. 20 sages were moved. If the southern heavenly realm was heavily damaged, perhaps they could still hope for victory in this battle. Good, we can agree to this condition. But we are only assisting Central Earth. If situations dictate otherwise, we won't risk our lives for Central Earth. Jiang Fan nodded slightly. Rest assured we won't make things difficult for you. Next is my second condition. Considering your assistance to Central Earth in exterminating the enemy, I will not overly demand your resources. Just provide a merit divine pearl for breaking through the virtuous realm, and resources for breaking through to the Asura Emperor, Demon Venerable, and other realms. Isn't that fair? The conditions he proposed to the Hell Realm included requesting resources beyond the Asura Emperor opportunity. The 20 sages were immediately moved. The second condition was surprisingly much lighter. The sages' opportunity is indeed a painful price for their world. However, if it could prevent the invasion by dark creatures, it was immensely worthwhile. Ice Realm is willing, with 10 medium-sized merit divine pearls and my assistance to Central Earth, to exchange for Peace Monument usage time. An elder surrounded by the Ice Law agreed without hesitation. Ice Realm is barely larger than Central Earth, categorizing it as a small world. Facing the dark creature's invasion, it stands no chance presently, the situation increasingly precarious. He speculates that it's challenging to purchase the Peace Monument among the 100 realms of all heaven's competition, and leasing it was indeed a rare opportunity. 10 medium-sized merit divine pearls, truly a bargain. Jiang Fan raised an eyebrow. With someone initiating, things became much easier. He turned his gaze and took out a small notebook. Ice Realm, 10 medium-sized merit divine pearls ranked first in transaction. After writing, he looked at the hesitant sages from other realms. By the way, the order of Peace Monument usage is determined by transaction priority. What? The deliberating sages from various realms suddenly felt urgency. Dark State offers an Asura Emperor opportunity to lease the Peace Monument once. Good, Dark State, Asura Emperor opportunity ranked second, Jiang Fan noted. Earth Realm offers one large merit divine pearl to lease the Peace Monument once. Earth Realm? Jiang Fan looked at the speaker, an elder with earth-colored complexion, his skin like cracked, dried earth, emanating a thick earth law around him. He cultivated the Void Flow 5 forces, already achieving perfection in the lightning and fire forces, with some knowledge of the Void Flow Wind force. Except, he hasn't acquired the Earth origin and heavenly origin at all. Could this Earth realm be a world primarily focusing on Earth element divine skills? If he still couldn't find the Earth origin later, maybe he could visit the Earth realm. Good Earth Realm, large merit divine pearl ranked third. With 3 sages speaking up, the subsequent responses were more eager. Not long after. The small notebook listed 10 sages, including 2 from the human clan, 2 from the Asura clan, 1 from the angel clan, and 1 from the demon race. The rest were alien races. As for the other 10 initially interested sages, after consideration, they opted not to lease. Because their worlds are medium-sized or larger, although still invaded by ancient dark creatures, they are already gaining the upper hand. Victory is merely a matter of time, so they felt there was no need to spend such a significant price on leasing the Peace Monument. However, this was already satisfying enough for Jiang Fan. With 11 Asura Emperors plus 10 Outer Heaven sages, alongside local sages. In terms of sages, Central Earth had already surpassed the Southern Heavenly Realm. At this moment, the Ice Realm sage cupped his hands and said, "Little friend Jiang, please allow me to trade the 10 medium-sized merit divine pearls with you after the war, can I?" The other 9 sages also had no intention of trading now, because whether the Central Earth can defeat the Southern Heavenly Realm is still uncertain. If by any chance the Central Earth loses, the transaction may not continue, and if these valuable resources were handed over, wouldn't it be a one-way ticket? Naturally, Jiang Fan said with a smile. Although he very much hoped to obtain these resources before the Great War, allowing the Central Earth to gain a batch of sages, demon emperors, and Asura emperors in the short term. However, the sages of the 100 realms of all heavens are no fools. How could they be willing to hand over resources so easily? Everything can only be collected from each world after defeating the heavenly realm. Jiang Fan looked seriously at the remaining 30 sages and said, "Now, the pre-sale of the Peace Monument begins. Whoever offers the highest price gets the Peace Monument. Once the leasing world is done with it, it will belong to your world." The Outer Heaven sages were instantly invigorated. A peace monument means that their world could have 2,000 years of peaceful development, greatly boosting their chances of victory when the ancient giants return. The great dream demon Venerable shouted, "Our ancient demon realm wishes to exchange 10 merit divine pearls that surpass human clan sages for the peace monument." This statement immediately put the other sages in a tough spot. Although they came prepared, they were still intimidated by the great dream demon Venerable's offer. Most of the sages immediately backed out. Jiang Fan's eyes showed a hint of movement. He was also impressed. Before the war with the ancient giants, excluding the great wine sacrifice, there were only a handful of sages in Central Earth. A single peace monument could bring 10 sages to Central Earth. The sages of Central Earth received an epic enhancement. He repressed his excitement and looked at the other sages. "What about you others?" "The Martial Vault is willing to exchange 12 merit divine pearls that surpass the virtuous realm for it," a young female sage, who had been silent, said calmly. The sages present raised their eyebrows slightly, surprised. The great dream demon Venerable squinted. "Even the Martial Vault is here? What's your name?" The young female sage was only at the one calamity realm, but she remained composed facing the great dream demon Venerable and said, "I am Jian Kingmei." "Your surname is Jian?" The great dream demon Venerable's expression changed, and after some consideration he decisively said, "I won't compete." Jiang Fan looked at the female sage from the Martial Vault in surprise. "Who is this woman?" She made the great dream demon Venerable give up on competing for the peace monument. She appeared to be around 25 or 6, similar in age to Yun Shang, with an ordinary figure and appearance but unique eyes, having sword-shaped pupils. A rusty ancient sword was slung over her back. At first glance, she looked like a typical sage, but upon closer examination, one could sense that she lacked the aura of a living being. "Perhaps she's like a poisoned body, a remotely controlled puppet," Jiang Fan pondered, and Jian Kingmei's sword-shaped pupils scanned around. "Anyone else want to compete? Is the Martial Vault that impressive?" A young sage in a black robe, with his face hidden in shadows, spoke blandly. "The Nankian wants it." The sages present turned pale. The representatives of several realms that planned to contend for the peace monument quietly retreated to the edge and decisively gave up. The great dream demon Venerable had a look of surprise. "Even Nankian has come. What's going on? Both the Martial Vault and Nankian are powerful enough to withstand ancient dark creatures. Why are they fighting for the peace monument?" Jian Kingmei's eyes turned sharp. "HMPH, whatever Nankian offers, the Martial Vault adds one more divine pearl." The young man in black robe chuckled, his voice relaxed and with a superior tone. "Does the Nankian need to compete with others for what it wants?" He turned to Jiang Fan and with his hands behind, coolly said, "Central Earth Junior, offer up the peace monument, and I'll reward you with a merit divine pearl." Jiang Fan raised his eyebrows. It had been a long time since he encountered such an arrogant person. To be so audacious even in the presence of so many Central Earth sages. But, regardless of his identity, thinking he could take the peace monument away with a single merit divine pearl, as if tossing a bone to a beggar. "Dream on," he said impassively. "Can't afford it. Head to the right when you go out." "Don't disturb my business." The young man in black robe laughed, his unseen face full of arrogance. "Do you have some misunderstanding about us, Nankian? Even among the vast 100 realms of all heavens, none is king except the royal lands, none among your realms but are subjects. Taking a commoner's item is a favor." "Ha." Jiang Fan laughed. It seemed as if he was back in the mortal dynastic times. Yet, as he glanced around, neither the Outer Heaven sages nor the Central Earth sages laughed or maintained stern expressions. The 9 great wine sacrifices from Central Earth collectively crossed worlds, standing before the dark-robed man from Nankian. "The Taikang State Great Wine Sacrifice, holding a horsetail whisk," said indifferently. "The era of Dakian has long passed. Stop dreaming of 10,000 years ago. This is Central Earth, created by the ancient saint of cloud desolation, and you are unwelcome here, Nankian." The other 8 great wine sacrifices silently released a powerful aura. The auras of the 9 great wine sacrifices merged into one, exuding an aura comparable to the peak of the 3 calamities realm. The young man in black robe still stood with his back to them, unafraid. After a long separation, unity is inevitable. The reunification of Dacian is destiny's trend. All the worlds dividing the lands of Dacian will eventually be crushed by us. If you defect now, you can avoid the crime of world destruction. Having said that, he looked coldly at Jiang Fan. I'll say it one last time, boy. Hand over the peace monument and do not upset me. Jiang Fan gave him a cold glance and looked at Jian Qingmei from the martial vault, saying, The peace monument is yours, martial vault. When the leasing worlds have finished, I will bring the peace monument to the martial vault for the transaction. Jian Qingmei glanced sideways at the dark-robed youth, gloating. A fallen phoenix is worse than a chicken. Sorry, but the peace monument is taken by us, martial vault. The young man's face, hidden within the shadows, was undeniably sullen. Interesting, the young man laughed coldly. So you're Jiang Fan of Central Earth. We'll soon meet again, heh heh heh. He watched Jiang Fan. His form turned from solid to void and disappeared. A moment later, the sage's present breathed slightly easier. Jiang Fan realized that after the dark-robed youth revealed his identity, none of the sages dared to speak. It reflected the immense pressure the dark-robed youth had on them. Jiang Yishan scratched his head, hesitating. Jiang Fan, you shouldn't have refused him. Those Nankian lunatics are not to be trifled with. Jiang Fan calmly said, Fear not the man-eating ancient giants, why fear a bunch of lunatics? Jian Qingmei looked at Jiang Fan with a hint of admiration. So this is the person young Master Xiang praised, indeed extraordinary. Looking over the 100 realms of all heavens, few dare to speak to the Nankian nobles like that. Rest assured, that guy was just bluffing. Right now, Nankian faces a major crisis and can barely manage itself, let alone hassle you. Truly. Jiang Fan felt even more fearless. He nodded and said, Thank you, Senior Sword, for the guidance. Please go back and wait patiently. After I settle the turmoil of the ancient giants in the worlds leasing the peace monument, I will go to the martial vault to find you. Jian Qingmei said, Be careful. That guy might be carrying out a task close to Central Earth, suggesting the appearance of an important matter or person. Be vigilant when walking in the void. If you die, where will I claim the peace monument from? Important matters or people. Jiang Fan's gaze flickered, cupping his hands, he said, Junior understands, seeing Senior off with respect. Jian Qingmei nodded and vanished into a remnant shadow. Jiang Fan then looked toward the other sages, cupping his hands, he said, Esteemed seniors, the peace monument trade has concluded. If you don't mind, you are welcome to visit us in Central Earth. The sages from the outer heaven all showed expressions of interest. They too were curious about what kind of world Central Earth was, producing so many strange and formidable individuals. But just at that moment, in the void suddenly appeared a long swing with no end in sight. It swayed towards them from a great distance. On the swing sat a 6-year-old girl in a black pleated skirt, with an innocent smile on her face. Who else could it be but Kiki? Breathing in, the swing arrived in front of them at near-instantiated speed. Kiki nimbly jumped down, sweetly smiled, and said, Wow, Central Earth is so lively. Has something significant happened? Seeing Kiki's arrival, the faces of the sages present all stiffened, with some showing a trace of fear, inconspicuously retreating. Jiang Fan rolled his eyes at her and said, Why are you only coming now? He had been stalling the peace monument trade, waiting for Kiki to arrive. Only then could he engage in a friendly cooperation. There was just a peace monument trade gathering held here, and you are late to the party, Jiang Fan said. What? Kiki was dumbstruck. You sold the peace monument. Why didn't you inform me? She had long coveted the peace monument, but Jiang Fan had sold it to someone else. If it landed in her hands, couldn't she reap a tenfold profit by flipping it? Jiang Fan shrugged and said, Aren't you a merchant? How is your information so outdated? Kiki glared at the sages around, angrily clenching her little fists. Why are you all so tight-lipped? Not a single bit of information got out. The group of sages exchanged glances with each other. The information about the peace monument, they would rather only they know who would divulge it. Kiki angrily glared at Jiang Fan again and said, How much did you sell it for? Jiang Fan said, 12 merit divine pearls that facilitate the breakthrough to sage. Kiki calculated, the price was fair, but not being able to make a profit was quite distressing. She ground her silver teeth and scanned the sages present, saying, I'll sell you 40 sages instead. Jiang Fan was puzzled. Where did you get so many sages? Kiki chuckled coldly and said, Aren't there 40 unclaimed sages right here? I'll sell them all to you. Oh my. The sages from the outer heaven who originally wanted to visit Central Earth, their faces turned green on the spot, one by one. Little friend Jiang, my sow is pregnant. I need to rush back. Farewell, farewell. Oh, I just remembered there was a fire at home when I left. I'll visit Central Earth another time, goodbye. Of the 40 sages, more than half fled in the blink of an eye. Only 10 sages who leased the Peace Monument, and the great dream demon Venerable along with the sages from the poisonous world wanted to leave but couldn't. Jiang Fan was secretly stunned. Was Kiki really that frightening? The divine whip of white tiger seemed unclaimed in her eyes, already defying the heavens. Unexpectedly, even sages were considered unclaimed objects to her. But isn't Kiki just a great venerate at the stage of the heavenly human 5 declines? HMPH, you're lucky to have run fast enough. Kiki glared at Jiang Fan. Boy, sell me the Peace Monument. I'll get you 13 merit divine pearls in return. Jiang Fan replied without a second thought. Unless the other party backs out, the deal is settled and I won't resell. Kiki pouted. We have shared hardships in friendship, yet you never think of me when there's profit to be made. Jiang Fan gave a mysterious smile, saying, Who says there isn't? I have some good things waiting to trade with you. Oh. Kiki's expression finally softened. If any other divinity transformation realm individual said they had good things, she would have doubts. But if Jiang Fan said it, she had to believe, because the guy truly was laden with treasures. Come, we'll discuss in Central Earth. Jiang Fan called out, leading Kiki and the sages from the outer heaven into Central Earth together. Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion. The organizers of the Great Wine Sacrifice were responsible for accompanying the Great Dream Demon Venerable and the sages, while Jiang Fan led Kiki alone back to his private chamber. He closed the stone door and set up a barrier. Kiki curiously asked, Quickly bring out the treasure you have. Jiang Fan took out the prison-suppressing soul scripture and said, Let's complete the trade we agreed on last time. Here is the prison-suppressing soul scripture you've been wanting. The original version of the prison-suppressing soul scripture had been destroyed, fortunately. The Asura Saint's son found a new one in the West Spirit Mountain of the Buddha domain, which Jiang Fan acquired. Otherwise, this trade would have been hard to accomplish. Kiki's eyes lit up. She had been longing for this scripture. She immediately happily took out a transparent crystal, the size of her fist, with strands of law chains faintly weaving in and out of it. Was this a crystal? It was clearly a condensed mass of immense power of laws. Here's the complete set of laws from a 3 calamities realm sage that you requested. Jiang Fan excitedly accepted it, having never been in contact with such extensive power of laws. If all were infused into the Tai Chu prison sky gourd, he wondered how brightly it could be lit. Next, Kiki pulled out a strand of hair and said, An artifact you wanted to slay sages. It contains the death law and can kill a 3-day giant emperor or a sage who has perfected the 1 calamity realm. Jiang Fan was excited once again. So far, none of the magical treasures in his possession could definitively kill a sage. The value of this strand of hair was evident. Kiki hesitated a little and retrieved 2 long swords with extremely strong spiritual pressure. They were unexpectedly 2 top-grade spirit swords. She awkwardly said, I only found 2 of the 3 top-grade spirit swords you wanted. Can you take a loss and begrudgingly accept it? In reality, Jiang Fan already had 7 top-grade spirit swords. Evil Sword, Purple Thunder, Green Frost, Tinksu, Thousand Illusions, Thunder Lord, and Earth Tooth. With 2 more swords, it would suffice to complete the Dayan sword array in its perfect form. However, Kiki, the little black merchant, expected him to grudgingly accept. Could people even utter such words? Jiang Fan suppressed the thumping in his chest, huffing. The items aren't complete, and you want me to pay in full? I should tear out a few pages from the scripture. He made a move to unbind the scripture of prison-suppressing soul scripture, frightening Kiki and causing her to immediately stop him. No, please don't. Can't I compensate you in another way? If the scripture were missing pages, its value would be lost. Obtaining it would be as if not obtaining it. Jiang Fan secretly rejoiced. Maintaining a stern face, he said, What will you use to compensate? Top-grade spirit swords are very precious. Kiki bit her red lips, knowing full well Jiang Fan was taking the chance to extort her, yet she was helpless. On usual days, it would be as easy as pie to gather 3 top-grade spirit swords from the 100 realms of all heavens within a month. Unfortunately, a mysterious force was recently scouring the void for top-grade spirit swords, causing her unable to gather 3. The agreed items couldn't be exchanged as promised, so she had to let Jiang Fan have his cut. Kiki pouted, unwillingly said, What do you lack? Jiang Fan's heart pounded. He lacked so many things. He immediately said, I want Earth origin, Heaven origin, and Wind origin. Upon hearing this, Kiki frowned deeply. Earth origin and wind origin, I can manage to get some for you. But what is this heaven origin? I've never even heard of it. What? Even with Kiki's experience, she didn't know what heaven origin was. Jiang Fan had a feeling that if void flow 5 forces didn't cultivate smoothly, it might ultimately get stuck on this mysterious heaven origin. Upon hearing that Kiki needed to look for wind origin and earth origin, Jiang Fan lost interest. Time waits for no one. He pondered, then you must have resources to overcome the heavenly human 5 declines, right? Kiki stroked her chin and said, coincidentally, a member of the human clan just bought it from me. But I have a clue about a great medicine which can be discounted. Jiang Fan waved his hand. Clue, it's too vague. Perhaps someone already got there first, or maybe it's filled with great dangers, not worth even a top-grade spirit sword. Kiki got frustrated. Don't want this, don't want that, you choose yourself then. She simply waved out a large batch of various items. There were spiritual artifacts, spirit pills, heaven and earth spirit grass, as well as talismans, arrays, and so on, at least 1,000 types. Without exception, all of them were extremely precious. Jiang Fan glanced over and was dazzled, not knowing what to choose. At that moment, his eyes glinted slightly, because he discovered a reaction from a special space storage device on him. Inside it were fragments of the immortal king's undying bell. In Kiki's collection, was there something that could resonate with the immortal king's undying bell? Suppressing his excitement, he scanned around, and finally, among the dazzling treasures, he found a small, snow-white bell. It looked exactly like the immortal king's undying bell. The difference was, this small bell was a soul body. What it was about to be revealed. It was the artifact spirit of the immortal king's undying bell. The artifact spirit of the world artifact. Jiang Fan's heart nearly leaped out of his throat. He had acquired so many world artifacts, none had an artifact spirit. At least he had never sensed any. Who would have thought that in Kiki's collection, there would actually be an artifact spirit of the world artifact? He instinctively wanted to choose this item, then thought better of it and restrained himself. With Kiki's black heart, if he showed too much desire, she was bound to hack up the price and fleece him hard. He pretended to casually glance towards the other treasures, saying, "What kind of junk are you collecting?" "I don't fancy a single one." Kiki placed her hands on her hips, tilted her head, and bared her teeth. "Say that again if you dare. Say I'm black-hearted, I won't argue with you. Call my things junk and I'll never let it go. Hurry up and pick one." Only then did Jiang Fan reluctantly sift through the treasures. Finally, inadvertently, picking up the snow-white small bell, disdainfully saying, "Why is this a broken artifact spirit? You just put everything away." Kiki was displeased. "Don't you have any vision? Is this an ordinary artifact spirit? Can't you sense the pressure of the world artifact emanating from it?" Only then did Jiang Fan show a surprised expression. "World artifact's artifact spirit? Then where's the world artifact?" Kiki let out a sound. "If I had the world artifact, would I still take out the artifact spirit for you to pick? I would have merged the world artifact with the artifact spirit and sold it to the saints." Jiang Fan disdainfully said, "Without the world artifact, what's the point? An artifact spirit alone is useless, isn't it just a waste?" Kiki snorted. "Don't underestimate it. It was once the artifact spirit of the immortal king's undying bell, heaven's first defense boundary artifact. The reason the immortal king's undying bell could be called heaven's first defense boundary artifact, able to absorb laws, cause, and effect, and even saints' attacks without destruction, was largely due to the artifact spirit. Because this artifact spirit has an extraordinary origin, it can repair all kinds of magic artifacts under the heavens. It was finally refined to become the artifact spirit of the immortal king's undying bell. Every time the immortal king's undying bell had damage, the artifact spirit could quickly repair it. Today, although the immortal king's undying bell is gone, it can be used to repair other magic artifacts. For example, if your top-grade spirit sword is broken, it can fix it in minutes. Jiang Fan's heart raced wildly. He wondered how the immortal king's undying bell, a world artifact famed for its defense, could have been shattered during several sage-level attacks. It turned out it was missing its artifact spirit. If he had this artifact spirit, wouldn't those fragments of the immortal king's undying bell be able to be repaired into a complete immortal king's undying bell? He stood firm and calm, holding the artifact spirit, showing a few suspicious expressions. "You're not tricking me, are you?" Kiki patted her chest and said, "Rest assured, why would I deceive you? Besides, if you get lucky one day and find that immortal king's undying bell, you'll strike it rich." With that bell on your back, you can traverse the 100 realms of all heavens without fear of anyone. Jiang Fan showed interest and said, "All right, I'll take this artifact spirit." Kiki was thrilled inside. What a fanciful guy, still wanting to find the immortal king's undying bell. I've been to the southern heavenly realm countless times and never found it. If you're able to find it, I'll write my name backwards. She put away all the other items, then extended both hands eagerly. Let me see the prison-suppressing soul scripture as agreed. Jiang Fan tossed the scripture over as promised, and Kiki caught it, immediately flipping it open while drooling. This is the secret uncontested by Hell Realm's Buddha, the prison-suppressing soul scripture, the best tool for harvesting merit. I'll print 99 copies, sell 100 copies per world, and make a fortune by the bookload. Wow, haha, I've struck it rich this time. Jiang Fan also drooled a bit as he put away the artifact spirit of the immortal king's undying bell. He couldn't wait to get rid of Kiki and repair the immortal king's undying bell at once. However, he still had a few things he needed Kiki's help with. With a flip of his hand, 2 space storage devices appeared in Jiang Fan's hand. One belonged to Compassion Old Dog, the other to Xianxia. The former was a space storage device of the sage, surely full of resources. The latter belonged to Xianxia. He wanted to know if there were any of those black array stones left inside. Neither had a spell, so they had to be forcibly opened. In this regard, Kiki was an expert. "Wipe that drool, I'll give you a benefit," Jiang Fan said. "Open the 2 space storage devices and we'll split the contents half and half as usual." Opening another space storage device, Kiki's interest was immediately piqued. This kind of no-cost trade was her favorite. She immediately took the 2 space storage devices and examined them, saying, "The owners of the storage devices aren't nearby, and we don't know the spells. They can be opened, but a considerable portion of the contents will be lost. What's left will be down to luck. Are you sure you want to force them open?" Jiang Fan said without hesitation. "Why not? It's not mine. Lose it, so be it. Whatever we get is our gain." Kiki's eyes bright and true. "Why feel bad for their owners? Open." Kiki mysteriously took out a palm-sized black windmill, with each blade containing mysterious power of laws. "We agreed half for each," Kiki said cunningly, "and besides, this time I get to pick first. After all, this magic artifact loses value with each use. It's very precious." Jiang Fan said generously, "No problem. If not for Kiki's windmill, they would not be able to retrieve even a strand of hair from inside, so if she wanted to pick first, he would let her pick first. Anyway, if Kiki took the black array stones, he would retrieve them with the dog bowl. No loss either way. "Why do you suddenly look so decent?" Kiki was a bit unused to this upright version of Jiang Fan. Jiang Fan blinked. "You might have had some misunderstandings about me before. All right, no more nonsense, let's start quickly." Although Kiki felt a bit uneasy, she couldn't think of any more traps, so she scratched her head and started working. She blew a breath at the small windmill, and the black windmill immediately expanded to several times its size, reaching Kiki's height. In the center of the windmill was a fist-sized hole, into which she placed Xianxia's storage device. Then she hopped onto one of the blades and stomped down hard, starting the windmill's slow rotation, then hopped onto another blade, and then the next. As the windmill spun faster and faster, she jumped around on it like a small mouse, almost creating afterimages with her movements. Meanwhile, the storage device in the hole seemed to be under some kind of pressure, emitting an unbearable cracking sound on the verge of exploding. At this moment, Kiki decisively jumped off the windmill. The unknown power of laws on the blades activated one after another, forcibly bypassing the spell of the storage device and slipping inside. The next moment, crash! Sheets of items, carried by each spinning blade, were flung backward. It was as if the windmill was stuck in a water channel, scooping up some of the passing water. Some contents of the storage device were also scooped out. Bang! The storage device could not withstand the pressure and exploded on the spot. As the windmill gradually came to a stop, the ground was strewn with a chaotic jumble of items. Jiang Fan immediately spotted 6 black array stones tied together, holding his breath. Xianxia, that guy, really had more black array stones, and there were as many as 6. This array was an offense-defense integrated quasi-realm artifact, consisting of 1 white and 18 black array stones in total. 12 black array stones have appeared so far. There were 6 left. It's unknown if they were destroyed in the storage device explosion, or Xianxia never got them. Whoosh! Kiki flew over, pressing the 6 black array stones beneath her. "These are mine." Truly a businessman crossing the void, good things never escape her eyes. She joyfully cradled the 6 black array stones. These should also be magical treasures from the heavenly realm, part of a quasi-realm artifact. Good stuff. To avoid long nights and missed dreams, she quickly threw them into the storage device after glancing around. Apart from the black array stones, there were some spirit pills, herbs, and various personal items, nothing valuable. Jiang Fan, without any complaints, just picked up some herbs that seemed valuable. This made Kiki feel a bit guilty. She didn't expect that this Divinity Transformation Realm space storage device would contain such heaven-defying treasures. Nor did she expect that everything else would be trash. Jiang Fan provided the storage device but ended up with nothing in return. All right then, with this last space storage device, I'll let you pick first, Kiki conceded once. Jiang Fan casually agreed, all right. He wasn't expecting the compassionate elder dog to have any great treasures. If there were truly a killing device, it wouldn't have died so easily. He only hoped to gather more resources to give back to the beings of Central Earth. It was as if the compassionate elder dog was paying back a little debt to Central Earth. Kiki immediately jumped onto the windmill, repeating her previous actions as the little hamster. Before long, as the compassionate sage's space storage device burst with cracking sounds, large batches of items were scooped out, scattering all around. His savings were far greater than Wang Chengxiao's, so much so that Jiang Fan couldn't take it all in at once. As the storage device exploded, Kiki also eagerly scanned the surroundings. All of a sudden, she felt a sense and abruptly looked towards a scattered pile of spirit grass. Faintly, she spotted a soul-colored crystal stone hidden among them. Even though it didn't emit any aura, her intuition told her it was an extraordinary divine object. She instinctively wanted to pounce on it, but couldn't because she had already promised Jiang Fan could choose first. She pretended to be nonchalant, hands behind her head whistling. "You go first." Saying this, she casually moved to that corner, positioning her little foot over the crystal stone to prevent Jiang Fan from noticing. Jiang Fan didn't pay much attention. Surveying the area, he found some fairly valuable treasures and was about to pick one. But suddenly realized something was off. Not right, Kiki, that money-grabbing girl, wouldn't react unemotionally seeing these things, unless she had found something even more valuable. Jiang Fan looked at Kiki with an amused expression, noticing her standing over a patch of spirit grass in a remote corner, finding it suspect. With a playful smile, he approached Kiki and said, "Move your foot." Kiki rolled her eyes at him. "You even want this trashy spirit grass?" Saying so, she shifted her foot, keeping it close to the ground. The crystal stone left a long indentation on the ground. Jiang Fan chuckled and lifted Kiki, revealing the soil-colored crystal stone she had stomped into the dirt. "Oh, a crystal stone. Looks rather ordinary. If it was lying on the ground, he might not have picked it up. If Kiki was hiding it, it must not be a common item." Kiki shrugged. "Well, I found the stone pretty, so I wanted to keep it." "If you like it, take it then," Jiang Fan chuckled. This reverse psychology has no effect on him. With a grasp from afar, he took the crystal stone into his hand and said, "All right, I'll take this one." Kiki shrugged off Jiang Fan's grip, jumped down in annoyance. "You jerk. Why don't you follow the script?" Jiang Fan dangled the crystal stone. "Now tell me, what is this thing? In case I find it useless, I might give it to you." Kiki stared at the crystal stone, her eyes burning with desire. "With my years of experience, it should be a remnant of a world artifact." Jiang Fan's spirit suddenly sharpened. World artifact, remnant? He looked at the crystal stone in his hand, showing a look of disbelief. Soon after, he realized something and began measuring the size of this crystal stone, his pupils gradually contracting. This size, isn't it exactly the size of the missing pendant of the heart of 10,000 Earth's necklace? Indeed, the compassionate elder dog had been to the second layer and also brought out the little killin, since he managed to get the little killin out past the array. Then, the reason why the 10,000 Earth Saints' posture appeared as if he fell on the array was likely the compassionate elder dog's doing. The missing pendant on his necklace must have also been taken by the compassionate elder dog. However, due to Taoti's arrival, he couldn't take the entire necklace along with him. Jiang Fan couldn't believe that the incomplete heart of 10,000 Earths had been unexpectedly completed so suddenly. "I originally thought it had been taken by some explorer from the past 10,000 years. Finding it would be harder than finding a needle in a haystack. Never did I expect it to be in the hands of that old dog Compassion, and moreover, inside a space storage device." Jiang Fan was secretly ecstatic. Another world artifact acquired. But he couldn't show it, otherwise, even if Kiki had to be cheeky, she would want to snatch the crystal stone away. Another remnant of a world artifact, Jiang Fan said, stroking his chin. Then I'll take this one. What if I get lucky and find another part of it? Kiki was so annoyed that she stomped her foot repeatedly. If only she hadn't softened up earlier and allowed Jiang Fan to choose first. Why couldn't she just be a ruthless merchant? Why pretend to be a good person? In this world, being a good person comes at a cost. Kiki wanted to cry but had no tears, glaring at Jiang Fan angrily. I'm never cooperating with you to open a space storage device again. I always end up losing out, HMPH, Jiang Fan laughed. Don't worry, there's another item waiting for you to open. He took out a very heavy space storage device, its surface covered with many cracks, as if it couldn't withstand the pressure of what was inside. Curious, Kiki peered inside and was greeted by the sight of a bronze hall. Just one look and Kiki gasped in shock. Huh, a saint's palace? You even dare to take a saint's palace? How many lives do you have? Jiang Fan just smiled quietly. So what about a palace? Even a saint can be tamed to behave by him, right? Would you dare to open this palace? Who knows how many treasures are inside? Unexpectedly, Kiki refused without hesitation. I haven't lived enough yet. Who knows what dangers lurk inside a saint's palace if something leaks out? You and I merely dying would be the least of our worries. It might wipe out the whole Taikang state. Jiang Fan felt secretly disappointed. Does Kiki, with all her treasures, still dare not venture into a saint's palace on impulse? He was hoping to absorb some of the holy power from within, to fully open Hua Xin's palm, making it easier to take away that piece of blood ink. However, I might try it once I'm fully prepared. Kiki's eyes lit up as she stared at the space storage device, licking her lips. Jiang Fan smiled slightly. Agreed, as always, we'll split it half and half. With that, Kiki showed her smile again, happily picking up Compassion, old dog's belongings. Jiang Fan also picked up half. The resources were extraordinarily abundant, enough to last all the martial artists in Taikang State for 60 years. This was even after Kiki had taken half, and they had lost quite a portion during the forced opening of storage devices. The original number of resources in the space storage device must have been astronomical. When a whale falls, all creatures flourish, is certainly not easily encapsulated by mere words. What other deals do you have? Kiki happily said, making this trip to Central Earth worthwhile. Jiang Fan pondered for a while, then pointed to his forehead, saying, I've been branded by the chaotic ancient blood marquis from your Sin realm. Is there a way to remove it? Kiki's gaze grew serious. How did he target you? The Sin realm has 7 marquises in total, all old monsters who have reached the peak of the 3 calamities realm thousands of years ago. Their strength is unfathomable, unmatched by newly advanced 3 calamities realm others. Jiang Fan showed a solemn expression. He had already sensed as much. The blood-red long spear sent across realms by the chaotic ancient blood marquis, along with the efforts of the 9-prison Usura Emperor and the 9-day giant emperor of the southern heavenly realm, had not managed to completely fend him off. This showcased his terrifying power. Jiang Fan asked in a deep voice, Can the seal be erased? Almost 10 days had passed since the last assault from the chaotic ancient blood marquis, and he had almost managed to remove the dirty blood from the blood spear. He could come after him again at any time. And his branding enabled the chaotic ancient blood marquis to lock onto him across the vast void, leaving no room to escape. Kiki shook her head. It can't be erased. In essence, that brand is a law of the chaotic ancient blood marquis, and it can only be erased if someone else's power of laws surpasses his. But, just as Jiang Fan felt disappointed, Kiki took out a pen, saying, I can temporarily shield you from the blood seal. As long as the chaotic ancient blood marquis doesn't come near you, he won't be able to sense you. The shielding effect can last for a month. Jiang Fan's eyes lit up. Then what are we waiting for? Kiki extended her snow-white little palm. Do you expect me to help for free? Give me that world artifact crystal and I'll help you. Ha. She's truly a little black merchant through and through, taking advantage of the situation at every turn. Jiang Fan's face darkened as he took out a small jade bottle. Inside was a drop of dirty blood. As soon as he took it out, Kiki reflexively bounced back in surprise, a face full of gravity. The aura of a Tao slave. This is Usura holy blood polluted by the aura of a Tao slave. Jiang Fan tossed it to her, saying, Hurry up and shield the blood seal for me. Kiki realized it, quickly grabbing the small jade bottle, her face immediately lighting up with joy. Your treasures are like water in a sponge, never running dry. Giggling, she pocketed the little black bottle, and with her brush in hand, she approached Jiang Fan, drawing a transparent flame mark on his forehead. When the blood seal reacts, the flame mark will ignite first, releasing a unique aura to suppress the blood seal. The lifespan is only a month. Hopefully, I can prepare enough to unlock the Saint's Palace by then. Otherwise, the chaotic ancient blood marquis would relentlessly haunt you. Jiang Fan nodded, feeling much more at ease. He had temporarily gotten rid of a significant threat. Seeing Kiki getting ready to leave, Jiang Fan said, "I'd like to pre-order some items for the next transaction." Kiki became interested. "What do you want?" Jiang Fan said, "Power of laws, different kinds of power of laws. I'll take as much as you have." If it was truly as the remnant soul of the holy angel said, and Jiang Fan's ancestor ring did not become a virtuous, then he could only pursue the path of body refinement. The countless kinds of laws required by the Heavenly Separation Sutra would need the help of a super merchant like Kiki to be collected. This would be a long-term transaction. Kiki was a bit surprised, not understanding why Jiang Fan needed so many types of laws, but as a merchant, she wouldn't pry into her customers' backgrounds. "No problem, but what will you trade in return? The power of laws is quite precious." Jiang Fan was prepared, and with a thought, his consciousness entered the Zidu medicine garden. Initially, he just wanted to take some breath soil out. But upon scrutinizing the medicine garden, he realized it had undergone a transformation. What he found was an acre-sized medicine garden, covered in purple vines, crowding out all the spiritual medicine transplanted from Yunhe Li Xian, leaving almost no room for them to grow. "What is this?" Jiang Fan was surprised as he followed the vines to find the source. Finally, he traced it back to the side of the fixed seed. "This is," Jiang Fan recalled and smacked his forehead in realization, "immortal binding vine." Back then, after weaving the immortal binding vine into a rope, there was a small piece of the rootstock left, the size of a fingernail, which he had planted haphazardly into the breath soil. At that time, he just wanted to see if it could be planted successfully. Never had he imagined it would grow rampantly. Moreover, it looked completely different from its original form. Vine, it has now turned purple with sharp thorns growing out of the vine. Thin streams of purple liquid oozed from the thorns. Could it be poisonous? Let's test it on the heavenly sword later. He took out a handful of breath soil and returned to the outside world. "Are you daydreaming?" As soon as his consciousness returned, he heard Kiki's complaining voice. Jiang Fan handed over the breath soil. "What do you think of this?" Kiki looked surprised and then pouted. "Breath soil, huh? Although precious, it's not enough to cultivate a single spirit grass." Jiang Fan smiled faintly. "This is just a sample." Kiki looked dubious and made a circle in front of her. "This much?" Jiang Fan nodded. Kiki's eyes shone as she made a circle around the room. "More than this? Even bigger?" "Oh," Kiki gasped. "Did you bring the entire garden from the heavenly realm?" Jiang Fan smiled without a word. That was a tacit confirmation. Kiki clutched her chest, looking pained. "Oh my God, you might as well kill me. Seeing you get rich is more painful than dying." The breath soil garden in the heavenly realm is made from the Ziyuan Immortal Mountain, one of the 4 immortal mountains. "How did it end up in your hands? What's wrong with me?" "Oh." Jiang Fan showed a trace of surprise. The breath soil's origin was one of the 4 immortal mountains of the heavenly realm. No wonder it has such incredible abilities. He mused. "If you want more, try to gather some power of laws." Kiki bit her silver teeth and glared at Jiang Fan. "I really want to rob you, you bastard." "AI, AI." She stamped her foot, sighed, and rushed into the sky. Jiang Fan chuckled. The deal with Kiki this time yielded unprecedented gains. The day and sword array reached perfection. The Tai Chu prison sky gourd unleashed its greatest power, slaying the strand of the death law from the sage. He also resolved the threat of the chaotic ancient blood marquis. And as if that wasn't enough, he also acquired the artifact spirit of the immortal king's undying bell and the heart of 10,000 Earth's pendant. Kiki is practically his lucky star, comparable to his brother Wang Chengxiao. He immediately took out the power of laws from the disaster realm sage and infused it all into the Tai Chu prison sky gourd. Instantly, the yellow gourd of the Tai Chu prison sky gourd was fully illuminated. Last time, he exhausted much law wine, and with the continuous infusion from 9 great wine sacrifices, he barely managed to light the yellow gourd. Thus, when capturing the Dark Nine prison's Usura Emperor, he could only collect half of it, getting stuck at the mouth of the gourd. Now, with the gourd fully illuminated, it can completely capture a disaster realm sage. Of course, the premise is knowing the true name of the opponent. Like the chaotic ancient blood marquis and 9-day giant emperor, Jiang Fan couldn't quickly figure out their true names. But isn't it easier with the dark 9 prisons Usura emperor of the heavenly realm? With a thought, Jiang Fan released the heavenly sword and Tianji siblings. Suddenly freed, the heavenly sword hesitated for a moment, then a fierce glint flashed in his eyes. He decisively smashed the stone door and rushed out. As he burst out of the chamber, he spat out a black pill pearl hidden within him, which struck the space ahead, dissolving it into a void opening just big enough for a person to pass through. His heart pounded wildly. For a month he had endured humiliation, never resisting Jiang Fan, all for this once-in-a-lifetime chance. His figure flickered, diving into the void, sneering coldly. "Didn't expect, did you? I was hiding a life-saving divine skill. I was just waiting for you to let your guard down and release me." Jiang Fan remained calm, saying, "What about your mother and 2 younger sisters? If you run, I'm likely to kill them." "Heh." The heavenly sword sneered coldly. "Do you think I'm like my mother, bound by stupid family ties? If I traveled as often as she does, I'd be long gone. Goodbye, then. I'll settle our accounts one by one with you." At the end, his features were extraordinarily hideous. The hatred swirling in his eyes was like a raging tidal wave. Jiang Fan remained indifferent, saying, "Did I allow you to leave?" He patted his pocket, and the immortal binding vine, hundreds of feet long, shot out, wrapping towards the heavenly sword. "HMPH?" The heavenly sword sneered dismissively, striking the vine with a reverse punch without a second thought. "A mere vine thinks it can stop me." He expected the vine to be either smashed or sent flying by his punch as the 5-crowned king of hell. However, his punch was ignored by the purple vine, like a purple thunderbolt hitting his fist. Upon contact, the vine didn't unleash a massive force. It's just that the thorns on it were bizarrely sharp, easily piercing the skin of the 5-crowned king of hell, embedding in his flesh. It felt like being bitten by a mosquito then. His vision suddenly went black and he fell straight down. Soon after, his body darkened, foam at the mouth, and he trembled in a coma. The void ahead silently closed. He collapsed before his chance of escape. Tianji was stunned. Isn't dealing with the heavenly human 5 declines as easy as drinking water for Jiang Fan now? The vine casually flicked, and her brother, the 5-crowned king, just fell down. Jiang Fan looked surprised as he retracted the vine. As expected, the liquid droplets from those thorns were no joke. With just one sting, the 5-crowned king was almost poisoned to death. What exactly have I cultivated here? At this moment, the vine in his hand suddenly moved, retracting toward the pocket. Jiang Fan stared into the pocket in surprise. It turned out to be the fixed seed, opening its ravenous maw, sucking in the immortal binding vine like noodles. Jiang Fan's forehead vein twitched. Damn, he thought it was trying to romance and tend the roots of the immortal binding vine with breath soil. But in fact, it wanted to raise and then devour the immortal binding vine. Seeing the hard-earned treasure about to be eaten, Jiang Fan grabbed the vine. "Stop it!" The fixed seed unhappily tossed its head, generating a terrifying force. Jiang Fan, with a physique in the heavenly person 4 declines, was completely overpowered and thrown to the ground. To avoid getting pricked by the purple thorns, he reluctantly let go. Swish! Thus, the fixed seed swallowed the entire immortal binding vine into its belly. Jiang Fan laughed in exasperation. "Did I raise a second rebellious guy?" At that moment, the fixed seed opened its mouth again, spitting out. Swish! The purple immortal binding vine shot out like its tongue, striking towards the sky. The sky was left with thin, void-like cracks by the vine. This strike held the power of the heavenly human 5 declines. Afterward, the fixed seed retracted the vine, holding its maw high in arrogance. Jiang Fan finally understood. The maw had assimilated the immortal binding vine, making it part of its body. The fixed seed had that kind of capability. He admitted that he underestimated the ability of the fixed seed. But he didn't know if the poison from the purple immortal binding vine would work on the ancient giants. If it did, then the fixed seed would have been of great use in the ancient war. It hides underground and suddenly attacks, sweeping with its hundreds of feet-long vines, poisoning all the giants and making them collectively collapse. Unexpected harvest. Jiang Fan showed a slight smile, satisfied as he put away his pouch. His gaze lifted and landed on Tianji. Tianji's delicate body trembled and she said, I won't leave, don't hit me." As she spoke, she glanced at Tianjian, who was still foaming at the mouth and convulsing. Jiang Fan showed a harmless smile and said, "Sister Tianji, don't be afraid, you're different from your big brother, I won't mistreat you. Once we reach the heavenly realm, I will release you." Upon hearing this, Tianji didn't feel relieved, but instead shrank into a corner of confusion. Calling her sister and then painting a rosy picture, was this a last meal request? She cried out, "Please be a little meaner to me, I'm begging you. I'm scared when you're like this." Jiang Fan rubbed his nose. Was he that bad? Of course, he was indeed painting a rosy picture. Tianji had killed many people from the Ninth Sect on the continent, including the Supreme Elder Su Qingyang, who had once helped him. Why would Jiang Fan let her go? When the Dark Shura clan is pacified, that will be Tianji's end. He quietly took out the ancient heart mirror, secretly reflected it on Tianji, and said, "Honest people speak frankly, I want to make a deal with you. Tell me your father's real name, and when we get to the heavenly realm, I'll release you at the right time." Originally panicked, Tianji showed a confused expression. "Why do you want to know that?" Jiang Fan was slightly disappointed. Tianji subconsciously thought of the real name of the 9-prison Asura emperor in her mind. However, perhaps due to his immensely powerful cultivation, the ancient heart mirror couldn't capture it, forming a blur of noise. Thinking carefully, when Jiang Fan was still in the nascent soul realm, sages were unspeakable taboo existences. The 9-prison Asura emperor, who was just a step away from being a saint, had an unpredictable cause and effect. So it's no surprise that the ancient heart mirror could not reflect his real name. This mirror was useless, so Jiang Fan could only negotiate with Tianji. He stared at Tianji and said calmly, "Don't worry about it, just answer me." Tianji suddenly remembered, shocked. You want to use that gourd against my father?" In the space mirror, their family of 4 often discussed Jiang Fan. As someone who had tasted the Taichu prison sky gourd, Tianjian would naturally speak of its terribleness. Jiang Fan pulled out the evil sword and casually swung it, extending it to rest at Tianji's heart. "If you don't tell me, I'll kill you now. If you do, I'll release you when we reach the heavenly realm. Choose." Tianji looked fearfully at the evil sword, showing a troubled expression. When she noticed the increasing killing intent in Jiang Fan's eyes, she quickly said, "I'll tell, but not now. If I tell you now, I won't survive. I'll tell you when you reach the heavenly realm and before you release me." Clang, Jiang Fan withdrew the evil sword and said calmly, "You're not stupid, are you? Fine, when we reach the heavenly realm, I'll release you at the right time." Then, with a wave of his hand, he threw her and Tianjian back into the space mirror. After all, she stole the Eye of Hell and betrayed the entire Dark Shura clan. Only someone like her would betray her own father, Jiang Fan said calmly. The reason he chose to make a deal with Tianji rather than the Asura Empress and Tianqin was naturally calculated. The mother-daughter pair were unlikely to betray the 9-prison Asura Emperor. Only someone selfish like Tianji would. Yet, he had a feeling that Tianji agreed too easily. Could this woman be up to some trick? But thinking of Tianji's foolish look, he felt maybe he was overthinking. Forget it, on the way to the heavenly realm, I may not even encounter the 9-prison Asura Emperor. I'll deal with what's in front of me first. He flipped his palm, and a palm-sized snow-white small bell appeared. It was the artifact spirit of the immortal king's undying bell. It hovered motionlessly without the slightest ripple. One might think it was a dead object if they didn't know better. Jiang Fan touched it, but there was still no response. Jiang Fan testedly asked, "Artifact spirit, can you hear me?" Still no response from the artifact spirit. Jiang Fan muttered, "Could it be a mute bell?" The snow-white artifact spirit shook slightly and uttered in a childish voice, "You're the mute, your whole family are mutes." Jiang Fan was speechless. He thought, well, Purple Thunder and the artifact spirits of 1,000 illusions could even fall in love with each other. It couldn't be that the artifact spirit of the world artifact was a dead thing, right? Turns out it just didn't want to pay attention to him. "I heard you could repair anything under the sky," Jiang Fan asked curiously. The artifact spirit replied reluctantly, "Yes, I won't help, get lost." Hey, Jiang Fan was angered. This artifact spirit was really arrogant. No wonder when Jiang Fan chose this artifact spirit, Kiki didn't put up much resistance. Kiki must have taken a lot of grief from the artifact spirit. This stubborn and unusable artifact spirit was something she wasn't interested in. Jiang Fan, in a bad mood, dumped all the fragments of the immortal king's undying bell on the ground and asked, "Don't want these either." The high-end mighty artifact spirit suddenly trembled violently. A pair of wide eyes appeared on the snow-white bell, showing an incredulous expression, and then there was an ecstatic shout from inside the bell. "My body, my body!" With a whoosh, it flew over the fragments. The fragments seemed to be attracted, clattering as they all flew up, reassembling into a complete immortal king's undying bell centered around the artifact spirit. However, the cracks between the fragments spread like a spider web across the entire large bell. It looked as if it would shatter again with just a light poke. How did it break like this? The artifact spirit angrily asked. Jiang Fan's gaze flashed. He asked, "You can't repair it, can you? If so, I'll sell these as junk." The artifact spirit immediately said, "Who said I can't repair it? I just need a little time." As it spoke, a milky white light was released from the artifact spirit, permeating every crack. Under the nourishment of the light, the cracks began to slowly contract at a slight pace. Jiang Fan couldn't hide the joy on his face. It really can be restored. The artifact spirit proudly said, "Look who's underestimated me. Little People Clan, protect me for a month while I repair this, and after I'm done, I'll protect you 3 times. After 3 times, I'll go find my own master. Is that okay?" Without hesitation, Jiang Fan said, "Absolutely no problem. At that time, I will even help you find your master." Upon hearing this, the artifact spirit exclaimed in surprise, "Ah, turns out you're a good person." Jiang Fan, with a righteous face, said, "You're flattering me, I'm just speaking from the heart. If you protect me 3 times, you are my lifesaver, my life is yours, let alone helping you find your master." The artifact spirit, touched, whimpered, "Big brother, you really are a big good man. Much better than that black market dealer who always forced me to repair magic artifacts. No, she doesn't even deserve to be compared to you. Big brother, rest assured, I will protect you with my life, no one will harm you." Jiang Fan stroked the large bell and smiled. "Thank you then, you fix yourself with peace." With that, he put the large bell into the space storage device. Thus he rolled his eyes and said, "Little rascal, still want to find your own master. Not even awake, are you? Not to mention the original owner of the immortal king's undying bell, that holy angel is most likely already dead. Even if he isn't, now that the world artifact is in Jiang Fan's hands, and he still wants it back. What a damn daydream." After dealing with the immortal king's undying bell, Jiang Fan took out the necklace and pendant of the heart of 10,000 Earths again. His eyes shone with excitement. This was the biggest gain from the deal with Kiki. He'd gotten a complete world artifact for free. He took a deep breath and carefully pressed the earthy yellow crystal into the groove in the pendant. With a hum, strands of earthy yellow halos burst out layer upon layer. From above, one would see those halos spread out like petals unfurling, somewhat similar to the lotus seed of Buddhism. Jiang Fan reached out and grasped the necklace, and at once he actually heard a heavy and powerful heartbeat. This was the heartbeat of the central Earth world. Immediately after, even more heartbeats surged in like a tide. There was the heartbeat of the land of the 9 states, of the spirit grasses and animals on the earth, and of the human clan, demon race, and all other living beings. All mountains, rivers, vegetation, and living beings now possessed a heartbeat. And the ripples spread out from those countless heartbeats converged in Jiang Fan's mind, condensing into a 3-dimensional phantom of the central Earth world. No existence could escape his perception, and perception was only secondary. Jiang Fan felt that he himself had fused with the entire central Earth world. Wherever he wanted to go was but a single thought away, no longer restricted by the space law of the current world. With a single thought, he disappeared from the secret chamber. Meanwhile, far away in the center of the newly born Hunyuan state, Dongfeng Canyu was pouting, unwillingly slaughtering waves of hell creatures. "This is so unfair. Why is everyone else in the heavenly mechanism pavilion eating and drinking well, while I get dragged here to be a workhorse and clean up Hunyuan state?" This continent was, after all, derived from the hell realm, with many dangerous hell creatures and plants upon it, unsuitable for the human clan to live on. Therefore, as someone of the Usura clan, Dongfeng Canyu had been tossed here by the great wine sacrifice lot, shouldering the heavy task of clearing Hunyuan state. As she was grumbling, she suddenly noticed the ground before her rapidly bulging up, quickly condensing into a pitch-black humanoid figure. A rare hell creature. If I kill it, will it explode into a big treasure?" Dongfeng Canyu muttered and swung up the jade paper heavenly book, smacking it toward its forehead. Only a multicolored thunderbolt umbrella appeared over its head out of nowhere, blocking the jade paper heavenly book. "What treasure do you want? Can't I just give it to you?" Jiang Fan's annoyed voice came from under the umbrella. "Ah, it's you." Dongfeng Canyu recognized Jiang Fan's voice and hurriedly put away the jade paper heavenly book. "I almost murdered my own husband." Jiang Fan withdrew the yin-yang heaven, veins popping on his forehead. "Quit spreading yellow rumors about me." He took out one portion of Usura holy blood and tossed it to Dongfeng Canyu. "Hold this." Without waiting for her response, he activated the heart of 10,000 Earths again and vanished. Dongfeng Canyu reflexively caught it. When she focused her gaze, she couldn't help but gasp. Ah, 100 drops of Usura holy blood. This is a complete Usura Emperor opportunity. I really did explode a big treasure, the next moment. Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion. Inside Green Pearl's secret chamber, she opened her eyes wide, staring in confusion at the person emerging from underground. When she recognized Jiang Fan, she immediately turned to run. W8, I haven't recovered yet. Jiang Fan paused, then understood. Half amused, half exasperated, he pressed a hand on her shoulder. And you still want to cling to me every day like Yun Shang? You need to nourish your body. Here. He took out one portion of Usura holy blood, stuffed it into her arms, and said, digest it as soon as possible. Then he lowered his head and kissed her snow-white neck, leaving a hickey, and instantaneously moved back to his own secret chamber. Staring at the heart of 10,000 Earths in his hand, Jiang Fan was extremely excited. Being able to cross a great state with a single thought, this was something even a disaster realm sage couldn't achieve, right? Thinking back to when he was trapped in the southern heavenly realm, if he'd had this necklace, it would have been no problem at all. With just a thought, he could have reached any place in the southern heavenly realm, then easily split the void and left. This is a life-saving supreme treasure. Jiang Fan was overjoyed. But this was only an auxiliary ability of the heart of 10,000 Earths. Its true power was to push an entire world through the void. Of course, given his limited strength at present, he could only push a small world like Central Earth. What use does this ability have? Jiang Fan pondered. Forging a world artifact was an extremely difficult task. What was the purpose behind giving it this kind of power? He thought for a long time, but still couldn't figure out what the point of pushing a world was. Shaking his head, he put away the heart of 10,000 Earths and instead closed his eyes to comprehend the Dayan sword array. About 2 hours later, his eyes snapped open, sword chi erupting from every hair and strand of hair on his body. His gaze was like twin sharp swords, making space itself tremble. This heaven-level technique I obtained back in the nascent soul realm is finally perfected. Now all 9 swords are gathered, with one sword being a quasi-realm artifact and the other 8 top-grade spiritual artifacts, far surpassing the top-grade spirit sword requirement on the sword array. If I fully unleash the sword array, I wonder how powerful it will be. Deep expectation flickered in his eyes. Just then, the sky screen of Central Earth suddenly trembled. A fluctuation invisible to the naked eye radiated out from the distant Hunyuan state. Where it passed, the sky shook and the earth quaked. A vast pressure unique to a sage covered the 8 desolations. All experts below divinity transformation were seized by panic and unease. In the face of this pressure, they were like ants before the heavens. Jiang Fan felt a stir in his heart, flew out of the secret chamber and looked into the distance, joy flickering in his eyes. Dongfeng Canyu, or to be precise, Purple Soul Sage, has stepped into the Usura Emperor realm. The Usura Emperor opportunity from the Hell realm really is amazing. On the cusp of the expedition to the heavenly realm, Central Earth having one more sage-level combatant was an enormous blessing. Unfortunately, among the Usura clan of Central Earth, only Green Pearl and Dongfeng Canyu had reached the 5 Crown King level. Otherwise, he could keep copying Usura holy blood. Whoosh, 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 the great dream demon venerable and the 10 outer heaven sages appeared one after another, gazing toward Hunyuan state. The attainment of a sage of attainment was a once-in-a-millennium event even in their worlds. Sages from all over would normally come to offer congratulations. After all, in an era where saints did not appear, sages were the highest-end combat strength of a world. Their strength fundamentally determined a world's rise and fall. The Ice Realm sage stroked his beard and said, "Little friend Jiang, a sage has been born in your realm. Aren't you going to offer your congratulations?" Unexpectedly, all the sages of Central Earth should have sensed the birth of the new Usura Emperor by now and headed to Hunyuan state. Jiang Fan clasped his hands behind his back and said, "There's no time." What did no time mean? Just as the outer heaven sages were puzzled, a streak of black baleful light shot up from Green Pearl's secret chamber into the clouds. Jiang Fan looked toward the end of that baleful light, his eyes narrowing. Deep within the sky screen, an incomparably dark abyss inverted itself and descended, covering everything. Within the abyss, something that stirred terror from the depths of the soul was moving about. All of a sudden, 9 gigantic eyes appeared within the abyss, each shining with a different color, as if a colossal beast sleeping in the abyss had awakened. The 9 eyes rotated, overlooking the heavens and earth, as if searching for someone breaking through. Very soon the 9 eyes locked onto Green Pearl. One of the white eyes suddenly cracked open, spewing out countless white silk threads. A single thread floated down. Within that thread was an obscure power that suffocates those of the divinity transformation realm. It seemed as if it bound them with all things in the universe in the unseen world. And this was the power of cause and effect that only the Asura Emperor possessed. The white silk thread followed the black light and fell into Green Pearl's secret chamber. The next moment, an aura of the Asura Emperor that shook all beings erupted like a breached flood. The entire heavenly mechanism pavilion was violently trembling. Everyone in seclusion was startled and flew into the air. Soon after, the sky trembled greatly, and the earth roared. The aura of the Asura Emperor formed waves, radiating into the distance. Bang! The always hidden aura of red sleeves and 10 Asura Emperors suddenly burst the secret chamber open. Usually calm and poised red sleeves gazed at Green Pearl's secret chamber with disbelief written in her eyes. When the Asura Emperor of Hunyuan State was born, she remained composed. She guessed that the breakthrough person was probably the Central Earth powerhouse occupying Dongfang Kanyu's body. The 5 Crown Kings cultivation, paired with an Asura holy blood, made achieving the position of Asura Emperor seamless. It wasn't surprising, but what caught her off guard was that, right in the heavenly mechanism pavilion, someone else was achieving the Asura Emperor breakthrough. What shocked her more was that this breakthrough person was none other than her sister, Green Pearl. The 10 Asura Emperors behind her exclaimed, "How is this possible? The opportunity for an Asura Emperor is singular. Why are there 2 Asura Emperors breaking through? Also, where did Central Earth get a second 5 Crown King?" The 10 Outer Heaven sages were also surprised. 2 Asura Emperors in one day, this is a spectacle only seen in the 4 great realms. We thought Central Earth would only see a sage explosion after trading with us, but didn't expect. We truly underestimated Central Earth's foundation. Not just underestimated, the heavenly mechanism pavilion surprisingly harbors 11 Asura Emperors, and their sudden appearance frightened me. Luckily, we didn't harbor any wicked intent, or we would have suffered greatly. The 10 Outer Heaven sages felt a deep respect. They initially thought the heavenly mechanism pavilion was an ordinary little sect, but who knew it was a hidden giant crocodile? They had to reassess Jiang Fan and the heavenly mechanism pavilion. The massive tremor lasted for 30 breaths of time. When the aura dispersed, a small-framed maiden with long silver hair appeared. An air vortex above her head signified her cultivation, 1 prison Asura Emperor. "I have achieved the Asura Emperor realm?" Green Pearl gazed at her hands, feeling as if she were dreaming. A month ago, she was still under the Black Sun King's control, expelled by her tribe as a 2-crown little Asura king. Her future was uncertain, her fate doomed to be tragic. Yet a month later, she was already an Asura Emperor. In the past Asura 9 divisions, she could have been a division's master, a pinnacle powerhouse overlooking the Asura 9 divisions. And all that was given to her, yes, everything, was from Jiang Fan. Whether it was the Hell Abyss crystal that perpetually elevated her cultivation, taking back her soul controlled by the Black Sun King, or today's Asura Emperor breakthrough opportunity. Without exception, it was all given by Jiang Fan. Jiang Fan completely changed her destiny. Thinking of this, she looked up at Jiang Fan, tears of gratitude flowing from her eyes as she silently flew over to him. "Husband," she expressed heartfelt gratitude to the man before her, eager to give him everything to repay him forever. Jiang Fan also smiled, reaching out habitually to embrace her. But at the moment of touch, an unimaginable formidable force sent Jiang Fan flying away. Jiang Fan's organs vibrated violently, his entire body numbed, and his body shot through the air like a cannonball toward a group of Asura Emperors. Just before he was about to crash severely, Red Sleeves extended a snowy white palm, gently stopping Jiang Fan from behind and neutralizing the immense force inside him. Jiang Fan, still shaken, used his second domain to heal himself with a wry smile. "Almost got killed by my own wife." He was indeed careless. He overlooked that Green Pearl had just broken through to the Asura Emperor, and her power was not yet fully controllable, resulting in the mishap. Red Sleeves glanced at him, stating mildly, "You asked for it." Jiang Fan looked back at Qingjiu in surprise, sensing a hint of complaint in Qingjiu's words. He clasped his hands in gratitude. "Thank you for rescuing me." Red Sleeves retracted her palm, her face expressionless. "With so many sages here, even without me, others would have helped. No need to thank me." "Husband, husband, I'm sorry, I'm sorry." Green Pearl hurried over but dared not approach. She was also frightened. Her unintended lunge almost wiped out Jiang Fan. Jiang Fan, with a smile and helplessness but unwilling to blame her, patted her head. "It's all right. Stabilize your realm and it'll be fine." Green Pearl, both grateful and ashamed, nodded repeatedly. "Yes, I'll go into seclusion later." After a moment, she turned her face shyly. "From now on, I'm not scared of you. No matter how many days and nights, I won't be afraid." Can an Asura Emperor's body still fear Jiang Fan's torment? A month would be fine. Jiang Fan just smiled. A few days and nights were just routine for him. However, these words in Red Sleeve's ears made her shiver slightly. What? A day wasn't even Jiang Fan's limit. He can go for several days and nights. She felt a wave of panic in her heart, glancing coldly at Jiang Fan and Green Pearl before turning back to her secret chamber. Once she calmed down, the coldness in her eyes turned into a complex look. The once useless little sister, with Jiang Fan's help, had reached the same heights as her. Moreover, her future achievements might surpass her. Through the stone crevice, watching Jiang Fan and Green Pearl laughing and chatting, some waves of envy welled in her unimaginative heart. Or perhaps it was jealousy. Soon after, the world of Taikang State trembled once more. Dongfang Canyu and all sages from Central Earth gathered and rushed to the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion. Ling Yue Sage, Thunder Annihilation Sage, and others searched around and quickly spotted Green Pearl. They were somewhat familiar with Green Pearl, Jiang Fan's little Asura wife. Seeing her also break through to the Asura Emperor, they were full of admiration. "Congratulations, Green Pearl Taoist." Green Pearl hastily returned their politeness, humbly saying, "Fellow Taoists from Central Earth, no need to be so polite. It was thanks to my husband that I got the chance to break through." Dongfeng Canyu also jumped out, laughingly saying, "I also broke through to the Asura Emperor thanks to Jiang Fan's blessings." Upon hearing this, the sages, including the great Dream Demon Venerable, looked at Jiang Fan in astonishment. He, alone, in a single day, forged 2 Asura Emperors. None of them dared claim such confidence. Recalling Jiang Fan's formidable prowess during the battle with young Emperor in the Void, they couldn't help but look at him with renewed admiration. Anyone who still regarded Jiang Fan as of the divinity transformation realm would be blind. The grand wine sacrifice of Taikang State joyously laughed. "On the eve of the Heavenly Realm expedition, we in Central Earth have added 2 sage-level forces. It's destiny." He looked around, saying, "Since all the sages are gathered at Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion, let us then discuss the grand plan of the Heavenly Realm expedition here." The sages showed surprise. The Heavenly Realm expedition is the most historically significant event in Central Earth, bar none. Logically, it should be discussed in the heart of Central Earth. Changing it to Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion is extremely meaningful. The sages exchanged glances. The 9 Nether Demon Venerable, Heavenly Craft Sage, and Jiangshan First-Class Building Owner naturally had no objections. They looked toward the 4 Venerates of Heavenly State. The ancient Zen Buddha Venerate remained as calm as ever. But the expressions of Thunder Annihilation, Ling Yue, and Wuhan sages showed a hint of concealed disappointment. After today, would the center of Central Earth shift from Heavenly State to Taikang Great State? The Wuhan sage looked at the 2 female Asura Emperors standing beside Jiang Fan and the Jiangshan First-Class Building Owner, then glanced at the 10 Outer Heaven sages borrowed by Jiang Fan and sighed lightly. "Though I had a premonition this day would come, I didn't expect it to be so soon." The Thunder Annihilation sage forced a smile. If the young Emperor were still around, a showdown would be inevitable. The Ling Yue sage from the Moon Palace sighed. "The skies of Central State are about to change color." Everyone looked at Jiang Fan with complex expressions, feeling a myriad of emotions. The 2 Asura Emperors were just the beginning. In the future, when Jiang Fan fulfills agreements with the 10 Outer Heaven sages and Jian Qingmei from the Martial Vault, there would be opportunities for more than 20 sages, Asura Emperors, and Demon Venerables. These opportunities, of course, would prioritize martial artists of Taikang Great State. Only then would the sages of Taikang Great State reach an astonishing level. Since none of you have objections, notify the divinity transformation and nascent soul cultivators of each state to come to the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion. The Great Wine Sacrifice of Taikang Great State issued a new notification to all Central Earth Strong. He looked at Jiang Fan with a gaze full of gratification. If he told the group of Outer Heaven sages, The Jiang Fan before them, who changed the structure of Central Earth 9 provinces and rewritten Central Earth's eternal destiny, was a little-known junior just over a year ago. Would they believe it? Jiang Fan didn't idle around. While the nascent soul and divinity transformation troops of each state hadn't arrived yet, he instantly moved to stand before the 10 outer heaven sages. He cupped his hands and said, "Everyone, should this battle be a great victory, I shall not disappoint you." The 10 sages cupped their hands one after another. Jiang Daoyu, no need to be so formal. Having witnessed Jiang Fan's array of tactics, who would dare to underestimate him now? Then Jiang Fan looked at the great dream demon Venerable. At this moment, the great dream demon Venerable was also gazing at Jiang Fan. "Kid, you should give an explanation." He was still waiting for Jiang Fan to release Liu Bianwang. Jiang Fan earnestly said, "I will release your son, but I have a request." The great dream demon Venerable seemed to expect it and snorted. "Don't expect me to be your enforcer. I won't meddle in the affairs of Central Earth and the Southern Heavenly Realm. Only by joining forces with 9 great wine sacrifices of Central Earth could they rival a 9-day giant emperor. But aside from the 9-day giant emperor, the Southern Heavenly Realm also had a legendary 9-prison Asura emperor. Jiang Fan obviously wanted him to contend with the 9-prison Asura emperor. Such a dangerous job he would never do. However, Jiang Fan simply smiled faintly, saying, "I don't need you as an enforcer. I only need you to save me when I face irresistible danger. If I survive, I'll unconditionally release your son after the battle. If I die, I'll take your son with me in death. How about it?" How could Jiang Fan trust leaving the 9-prison Asura emperor to the great dream demon Venerable? This old fox had just recently deceived him, and the 9-nether demon Venerable with illusion techniques in the void. This person is only suitable to be used temporarily, but always guarded against. Is that so? The great dream demon Venerable's expression softened a little, saying, "This can be considered. But if the chaotic ancient blood marquis appears, don't expect me to take action." Jiang Fan said, "Of course, I won't make it too difficult for you." Seeing Jiang Fan recruit another demon Venerable of the 3 calamities realm, the sages of Central Earth showed joy in their eyes, their confidence bolstered. If this battle truly broke out, Central Earth's winning chances increased by another 30%. "Little friend Jiang, include my poisonous world in the assault on the Southern Heavenly Realm. What do you think?" The sage of Poisonous World, accompanied by Jiang Yishan, stepped forward, his body frail, enveloped in extremely dangerous poisonous mist. Jiang Fan was secretly delighted. Why not be pleased to have another sage? Moreover, a sage adept in poison. The giant emperors have tough skin and are impervious to spells. Only severe poison can have unexpected effects on them. With his inclusion, naturally it's better. However, Jiang Fan raised an eyebrow and said, "Senior, your poisonous world shouldn't need to lease the peace monument, right?" If Jiang Yishan was alive and returned from the ancient wilderness hunting ground, then the ancient giants should have already retreated. The old man coughed and said, "That's correct." He pulled Jiang Yishan closer and said, "This junior of mine saw the poison body you refined and couldn't figure it out. According to the poison origin scripture, one can only refine the poison body of the heavenly person 4 declines, yet you refined a 5 declines one. Because of this, he is on the verge of losing his mind, so he pleaded with me to find you for guidance." "Oh." Jiang Yishan protested, saying, "Obviously it's you." "Ow," he suddenly cried out in pain. The sage of the poison realm had somehow stuffed a poisonous centipede onto his back. The centipede's 2 large pincers gripped deeply into him. The sage of the poison realm chuckled, saying, "Yishan, seeking the great way is not something to be ashamed of. One must face their insufficiency courageously and seek advice humbly, never conceal illness, understand." When he finished, the centipede released its grip. Jiang Yishan, finally relieved, cursed internally. "It was clearly the old you who wanted to ask, yet you used me as a shield. So that's why?" Jiang Fan frankly replied, "I refined the poison body according to the poison origin scripture. I simply used the cursed sun wheel of a 2-day giant emperor." Oh, the sage of the poison realm suddenly understood. He had guessed this reason. However, the sage of the poison realm again grew puzzled, asking, "Then who passed you the poison origin scripture?" Jiang Fan pointed at Jiang Yishan. "Isn't it him?" "What?" The sage of the poison realm couldn't believe it. "You comprehended the entire poison origin scripture in just a month after acquiring it." Jiang Fan thoughtfully recalled and asked, "Is this poison scripture hard to comprehend?" I. The sage of the poison realm stood there, speechless for a long time. His life's accumulation of poison pathwork unexpectedly was instantly understood by someone. After a while, he regained his senses and cautiously asked, "Not a single stumbling block?" Jiang Fan reminisced and replied, "There was a bit." The book was too thick, flipping through it took some time. The sage of the poison realm felt his vital organs churn. So his proud poison path was simpler than flipping through a book. Seeing his dumbfounded expression, Jiang Yishan relished the moment inside. "Ha ha 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 ha, old geezer, I said Jiang Fan was a monster, you didn't believe it, insisted on joining the fray. Now you're mentally shattered, aren't you? Ha 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 ha." Jiang Fan was dumbfounded. "Senior, are you all right?" The sage of the poison realm waved his hand, sticking his chest out. "Why would I have issues? If anyone does, it's Jiang Yishan." Then he activated the centipede. The two poison pincers fiercely jabbed into Jiang Yishan's flesh. The next moment, the previously gloating Jiang Yishan suddenly convulsed, foaming at the mouth, collapsing unconscious on the ground. The sage of the poison realm tisked. "See, this child is too fragile, just downright shattered his mental state." Jiang Fan appeared stunned. "Is this what a broken mental state looks like, foaming at the mouth?" Jiang Fan asked, "Shouldn't we rescue him? He seems about to die." The sage of poison realm said, "No worries, young people plunge into sleep once they topple, it's normal." His gaze flickered, saying, "Little friend Jiang, truth be told, I am the creator of the poison origin scripture." Jiang Fan was astonished and hurriedly cupped his hands. "So it was Senior, my apologies for not recognizing you sooner." The sage of the poison realm said, "You have exceptional comprehension. I have an opportunity and wish to collaborate with you. I wonder if you are interested." Jiang Fan was extremely interested. The method of creating the poison body in the poison origin scripture amazed Jiang Fan from the first glance. After all, most people would find a giant's ability to regenerate from a single drop of blood to be a headache. Yet the sage before him had whimsically used it to forge a poison body, and he succeeded. Jiang Fan was very curious about his next move. The poison realm sage stroked his beard and said, "To be honest, when I designed the poison body, my ultimate goal was to create a saint realm-level poison body in this era where saints are absent. The Tao slaves dominate the 100 realms of all heavens. The saints are silent. If a saint realm poison body suddenly emerges, wouldn't it be able to reign over the 100 realms, invincible across the world?" Jiang Fan was shocked after hearing the first sentence. This elder was truly bold in his thoughts. Moreover, it might not be infeasible. The poison body is an empty shell. Even if it reaches the saint realm, it is merely equivalent to a saint realm corpse. The Tao slaves would not descend because of this. This perfectly bypassed the suppression of the Tao slaves. What it means to have a freely acting saint needs no further description. The poison realm sage said, "According to my conception, after crafting a divinity transformation realm poison body, a cultivation technique for the poison body to cultivate must be created. Given time, the poison body would eventually cultivate to the saint realm just like us living beings. Unfortunately, my comprehension is limited, and I haven't thought of a perfect cultivation method for the poison body even after 1,000 years. Little friend Jiang, would you be willing to delve into this method with me? If successful, I will gift you a vital artifact urgently needed by Central Earth." "Oh, a vital artifact urgently needed by Central Earth?" A question flashed through Jiang Fan's mind, and he agreed without hesitation. "Honored Elder, if the Heavenly Realm battle is won, I will surely make time to visit the poisonous world for a trial." The Poison Realm sage smiled and took out a black token, with Heavenly Poison inscribed on it. "This is a token of my Heavenly Poison Palace. When the time comes, you can use this token to smoothly enter the Heavenly Poison Palace of the poisonous world." Jiang Fan accepted it with both hands. "Understood, Elder?" Swish, swish, swish. As soon as the token was put away, countless presences came through the underground palace transmission array. Groups of divinity transformation realm individuals from various states arrived one after another. Familiar venerates like Golden Scale Venerate, Wan Bing Venerate, and the Lord of Star Mountain, as well as Ice Heart Venerate, came into view. Vice Palace Master Yu from Dan State, Red Dust Venerable from Great Wilderness State, and the only remaining Purple Cloud Venerable from Hunyuan State also arrived. In addition, he saw the long-missed Bai Xin. At the moment, Bai Xin had a special divine ring glowing white on the back of her head with 2 flame marks on it. This surprised Jiang Fan. Hasn't Bai Xin just broken through to the divinity transformation realm? Yet she's already reached the heavenly human 2 decline so quickly. On the other hand, the six-path masters beside her were still at the seven-orifice nascent soul. Jiang Fan revealed a trace of complexity. It wasn't that the six-path masters lacked talent or resources, but he simply dared not step into the eight-orifice nascent soul. The lifelong wish of the six-path masters was to find their daughter. Now that the obsession is formed, he has lost his goal, unable to find his own path. Stepping into the eight-orifice nascent soul would likely drive him mad. He feared committing wrongs in madness and disappointing Bai Xin, so he preferred to suppress his cultivation at the seven-orifice nascent soul, to accompany his daughter on her final journey. Alas, Jiang Fan remained silent. At this moment he sensed a special domain aura, raising his eyes to look. Beside the Lord of Star Mountain stood a strikingly beautiful woman in a green long dress with an unyielding melancholy between her brows. It was clearly Su Yining. Just as the Lord of Star Mountain said, Su Yining's divinity transformation path was unobstructed. She successfully transformed into divinity. The domain was the rare time path. Seemingly sensing Jiang Fan's gaze, Su Yining looked over, locked eyes for a moment, and quietly looked away. Her eyes were neither joyful nor sad. Jiang Fan smiled understandingly. Su Yining had also grown up. The four from Lonely Boat City, Jiang Fan, Su Yoren, Chen Silin, and Su Yining, had all followed their destinies to their current achievements. What a delight! When all the divinity transformation realm individuals had arrived, the wise Leng Yue took out over 50 great pills and said, "These are great pills commissioned by Starfear Venerable for refinement. They can allow the heavenly human one decline to break through to the second decline. Let Starfear Venerable distribute them." He waved his large sleeve, sending the great pills to Jiang Fan's side. The divinity transformation realms present all looked intensely eager. Especially the older generation with the heavenly human one decline, who yearned for them immensely. In the Central Earth world, resources for the divinity transformation realm were scarce. The fate for most was to sit in the heavenly human one decline until death. Only a minority could challenge higher levels. Now there were over 50 great pills. Jiang Fan grabbed 10 great pills, saving them for his newly promoted divinity transformation realm friends. Once their cultivation stabilized, he would gift them later. As for the rest, amidst pairs of hopeful eyes, Jiang Fan said, "These 40 great pills will be distributed according to the merit ranking from the ancient giant war." Though many divinity transformation realms had not ascended the 9-merit divine stele, there was an overall ranking. Taikang State's Great Wine Sacrifice took out a list and said, "I'll handle the distribution." Upon hearing this, many dedicated divinity transformation realms cheered. The Poison Realm Sage showed a look of admiration. These are 40 great pills of infinite value, yet Jiang Fan shares them selflessly with everyone. The sages from outside the heavens had indescribable feelings. The atmosphere of Central Earth was truly enviable. The older generations sacrificed themselves to carve a path of blood for the future, while the younger generations held Central Earth in their hearts, united in determination. With such successive generations, how could Central Earth not thrive? When the great pills were distributed, the 40 divinity transformation realms one after another consumed the pills and broke through on the spot. Auras of the heavenly human two declines erupted continuously. During this time, nascent soul armies from various states also arrived one after another. The Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion was packed with over 10,000 people, stretching as far as the eye could see, forming an impressive sight. Having consecutively experienced the ancient giant war and the Hell War, they were filled with an iron-blooded aura. They straightened their back, their momentum like a rainbow. A will to battle the heavens and earth, defy destiny, pierced through the Kankiong like a sharp sword. The sages from outside the heavens were moved. Though they were in the nascent soul realm, they emanated an aura that commanded the sages' respect. The Ice Realm sage was affected by their spirit. With such resolve, it would be hard for Central Earth not to triumph. The other sages nodded in agreement. Originally, they didn't hold much hope for Central Earth defeating the Southern Heavenly Realm. Now, looking at Central Earth's army, it suddenly seemed that Central Earth might achieve a grand victory that would resonate across the 100 realms of all heavens. Jiang Fan was also deeply inspired. Taking a deep breath, he said, "Great Wine Sacrifice, can we start the discussion?" In fact, there was no need for a discussion. Excluding the 11 hidden Asura emperors such as Qing Jiu and 100 angel leaders, the current force was enough to deal with the Southern Heavenly Realm. However, Great Wine Sacrifice looked towards Kingaming and said, "Wait a moment." A significant guest has returned from the source of evil. What? Jiang Fan's eyes revealed surprise, and many in the divinity transformation realm also grinned with joy. To be considered heavyweight by the great wine sacrifice, it must be an extremely powerful existence. Ling Yue, sage of the Moon Palace, smiled and said, "How can we sages let venerate Starfire work alone? We've all tried our best to contact familiar sages." Jiang Fan then remembered. When the plan to counterattack the heavenly realm was announced, the several sages expressed that they would try to recruit strong sages to assist. Ling Yue sage said, "Our Moon Palace successfully contacted a sage from Central Earth from 1,000 years ago. He has a deep relationship with our Moon Palace and is willing to spare precious time to assist." Jiang Fan asked with expectation, "What realm is this predecessor in now?" Ling Yue sage smiled and said, "The Three Calamities realm." Hiss, the crowd erupted with gasps of amazement, followed by excited discussions. Jiang Fan also let out a long sigh of relief. This counterattack against the heavenly realm is assured. He gazed up at the sky with anticipation. A few 2 hours later, the sky over Central Earth suddenly trembled as if some extremely powerful existence approached. Whoosh! A huge rift appeared in the sky, and a blindingly bright fiery red sun illuminated the heavens and earth, descending upon Central Earth. One by one, fiery red law chains formed a celestial stairway connecting the void and the earth. As the fiery sun faded, this senior from Central Earth finally revealed their true form. It was a woman, clad in fiery red armor, wearing a fiery red phoenix crown with a fiery red quasi-realm artifact long blade at her waist. Though a woman, she exuded a presence not inferior to any man. She walked down the stairs seemingly slowly, yet in an instant, she arrived above the heavenly mechanism pavilion. Only then did the crowd manage to see her appearance. A round face with delicate features, likely a remarkably beautiful fairy in her youth. Now appearing over 40, she still possessed some charm. With eyes looking down on the world, she surveyed the surroundings, her voice slightly tinged with age. "Is this the heavenly state? A millennium has passed and the changes are tremendous." The 9 great wine sacrifices spoke in unison, their voices harmonious. "Phoenix Dynasty Great Sage, you misunderstood, this is Taikang State." Phoenix Dynasty Great Sage raised her slender eyebrow. "Why convene in Taikang State? Is the heavenly state not worthy?" The great wine sacrifice smiled and said, "The location doesn't matter, why care?" Phoenix Dynasty Great Sage's gaze flashed with faint displeasure, scanning the crowd, her brows gradually furrowing. "Central Earth truly has declined. In 1,000 years, only 2 native sages have emerged. Did you win against the ancient giants by luck?" Jiang Fan's brows also furrowed. Originally, he thought only the likes of the Heavenly Patrol sage treated Central Earth as not their home. Unexpectedly, he wasn't the only one. This Phoenix Dynasty Great Sage, with her words consistently addressing "You Central Earth," sounded very much like the Heavenly Patrol sage. Did these sages, after leaving Central Earth for 1,000 years, gradually stop considering Central Earth their world? Recalling the ancient giant war, despite the dangers, no sages returned to help. Originally, it was thought that these sages couldn't leave the source of evil. But the returns of the Heavenly Patrol sage and Phoenix Dynasty Great Sage made Jiang Fan doubly skeptical. Has Central Earth been abandoned? Why is it like this? A millennium ago, in the era of grand prosperity, these sages once risked their lives for Central Earth. Why did they change after going to the source of evil? Hearing Phoenix Dynasty Great Sage's accusations, Jiang Fan found it laughable. Central Earth's inability to produce sages, wasn't it because your generation exhausted Central Earth's resources, then left it for 1,000 years unattended? If any sages among them were willing to return with resources, how could there be only 2 sages? Central Earth's current war, how could it be this perilous? Now they dare to question them. Many sages and armies showed indignation. Luck. Is this negating the sacrifices made by those who acted righteously? Is it mocking these armies that fought through the blood sea? The great wine sacrifice's smile faded and he said, "Phoenix Dynasty Great Sage, please be careful with your words." The 9 great wine sacrifices spoke in unison, their voices quite impactful. Phoenix Dynasty Great Sage then realized her words had aroused public anger. But she remained indifferent, merely snorting softly. "If you truly had ambition, you wouldn't ask me to return and help." Jiang Fan watched her coldly, unable to restrain himself any longer. What's the point of inviting such a person back? Before the battle begins, she's already demoralizing her own people. He shouted loudly, "Then, please return to your source of evil." Central Earth can manage without you. After all, in Jiang Fan's original plan, the 9-prison Usura Emperor was to be dealt with by him. With the Teichu Seed and the Tai Chu prison Sky Gourd, and with the great Dream Demon Venerable protecting his life, he might have a chance to subdue the 9-prison Usura Emperor. The entire crowd fell into a deathly silence, all staring at Jiang Fan in shock and fear. Even the sages from beyond were taken aback. A mere little divinity transformation dared to speak like this to an existence below a saint. Phoenix Dynasty Great Sage heard this and looked down at Jiang Fan as if observing an ant, with no emotion in her eyes. But with a light tap of her toe, a law chain pierced through space, striking towards Jiang Fan. HMPH? The 9 great wine sacrifices snorted coldly in unison, breaking the law chain with a joint strike. The great Dream Demon Venerable also flashed in front of Jiang Fan, arms crossed, and sneered. What a mighty prestige! I wonder if you were so brave at the source of evil. Phoenix Dynasty Great Sage's indifferent eyes showed a trace of an unusual expression. She had merely attempted to eliminate a junior in the divinity transformation realm. Yet it provoked actions from the great wine sacrifice and a 3 calamities realm demon venerable. She turned around, looking down upon Jiang Fan, examining him. Are you a descendant of a great sage? Otherwise, she couldn't fathom why Jiang Fan was held in such regard. The crowd had long accumulated anger, especially the West Sea Crown Prince. He flew to Jiang Fan's side, snorting. Old woman, you don't even know who he is. Then let me tell you. Standing before you is the foremost merit holder of the ancient giant war, the first on the merit list 9 steels, the immortal first inscribed on the 9 steels, the top winner of the archaic hunt, the supreme merit holder of the Hell Realm War, and the ancient saint of Cloud Desolation's most favored Central Earth being. Try making another move against him, and you'll have to worry about your own life. Phoenix Dynasty Great Sage's eyes shifted slightly, squinting her phoenix eyes. So you are that Central Earth's Jiang Fan? It seemed Jiang Fan's name had already spread among the sages who had left Central Earth. Jiang Fan stared coldly at her, saying, Sorry to disappoint you for not being able to kill me. Feeling Jiang Fan's provocation, a fierce gleam flashed in Phoenix Dynasty Great Sage's eyes. Do you really think I don't dare to touch you? Jiang Fan coldly replied. Then give it a try. I promise you'll die first. The Phoenix Dynasty Great Sage's eyes were filled with increasing malevolence, a hint of murderous intent gathering. I shouldn't have had expectations of you all. In the indifferent voice of the Great Wine Sacrifice, there was an unspeakable disappointment. Return to your source of evil. Central Earth doesn't need you anymore. The gaze of the Phoenix Dynasty Great Sage changed slightly, looking at the Great Wine Sacrifice with some surprise, and said, For someone in the divinity transformation realm, you want me to leave. Do you understand the situation? She was in the 3 calamities realm, an invincible powerhouse below the Saint realm. Central Earth couldn't conquer the southern heavenly realm without her. What was Jiang Fan worth? No matter how excellent, he was just in the divinity transformation realm, merely a low-level being in the eyes of the sages. The great wine sacrifice of Taikang State showed a deep coldness between his brows. The one who hasn't understood the situation is you. Central Earth can do without you, but it cannot do without Jiang Fan. He never gets angry. Even facing the giant emperor, facing the heavenly patrol sage, facing the chaotic ancient blood marquis, he remains as calm as a serene pool. Only today he was angry, because Jiang Fan's significance to Central Earth had long surpassed being a mere contributor. He was a spark. Just like his Tao name, Starfire Venerable. Born amidst the darkest and most perilous time in Central Earth, born from a small heavenly mechanism pavilion. Yet with the light of a faint spark, he ignited it all across the 9 states, burning through the darkness enveloping Central Earth. Spark becomes a flame that can set the prairie ablaze. Jiang Fan perfectly interpreted the meaning of his Tao name. Moreover, within the blazing flames against the ancient giants, he created an imposing figure. Perhaps not everyone would like Jiang Fan, but everyone undoubtedly admires Jiang Fan. Desiring to pursue his figure, become him, surpass him. This is Jiang Fan's significance. Now the Phoenix Dynasty Great Sage wants to scatter this figure, cut off the faith of Central Earth's powerhouses, simply because she dislikes him. The Phoenix Dynasty Great Sage felt humiliated. Me, in the 3 calamities realm, am less important than someone in the divinity transformation realm. Does the Great Wine Sacrifice speak for Central Earth? No sooner had the words fallen. The 9 Nether Demon Venerable unhurriedly said, able to represent me and the demon continent. The ancient Zen Buddha venerable clasped his palms together, able to represent this humble monk and the Buddha country. The Thunder Annihilation Sage said indifferently, also able to represent us at the young Emperor Mountain. One by one, the sages and great venerates all stood up expressionlessly. The 1,000 troops and horses gathered here also shouted in a rising clamor. Inferior and unworthy sage, get out of Central Earth. Central Earth doesn't need you. The powerhouses of Central Earth were rarely united in such a way. The wave-like shouts made even the Phoenix Dynasty great sage's heart tremble slightly. What did she do? She merely mentioned Central Earth's victory by luck, simply wanted to chastise a junior who showed her no respect. How did it stir public anger? And most vexing to her was that the long-silent Leng Yue sage, remaining expressionless, also said, "Phoenix Dynasty Great Sage, please return. Let's pretend I never requested anything of you." The Phoenix Dynasty Great Sage's face turned unsightly, her imposing presence venturing forth, yet was driven back by all of Central Earth. Leaving in such disgrace, wouldn't it make her a laughingstock? You want me to go? HMPH. Let me first ask you all, how do you intend to enter the heavenly realm? You're not thinking of directly opening the dimensional barrier between the two realms and barging in, are you? From what I know, the southern heavenly realm also has giant saints. To sages who force entry, they can eject you with just a thought. The dimensional barriers of the 100 realms of all heavens contain an ancient law originating from the heavenly Tao, which is, sages are forbidden entry unless invited. Once a sage forcibly tears through a different world's barrier, that world's saint realm will have the authority to expel the intruder, without alerting the Tao slaves. That's why, whether it be Central Earth, the Hell Realm, or other worlds, their ancient dark creatures never directly tear through the world's barriers to invade, but instead, obediently enter through unique connecting sky-black pillars. Even the 9-day giant emperor, back then, descended to Central Earth through the connecting sky-black pillar. Moreover, the Hell Realm has yearned for reclaiming Central Earth for millennia, yet none of their Asura emperors have torn through Central Earth's barriers to enter, but rather they invade through world artifacts connecting the two realms. The reason lies within this ancient law. To invade, you must bypass this law. The heavenly state Great Wine Sacrifice snorted. Not your concern. We'll find our way into the heavenly realm. This issue had long been deliberated among the group of sages. Central Earth neither possesses a connecting sky-black pillar nor a world artifact from the Hell Realm. Indeed, sages cannot easily enter the southern heavenly realm. But not long ago, Dongfang Canyu found a feasible method. It was for those in the divinity transformation realm to smuggle the sages and their army inside a container with spatial attributes, sneaking into the southern heavenly realm, thus bypassing the restrictions of the ancient law. The last time, they successfully ambushed 3 inferior sages without any reaction from the giant saints, thereby validating the feasibility of this method. Of course, this method carries great risk. The previous success occurred when the giants were all away, leaving the southern heavenly realm vulnerable. Now, the giants are on guard. Should any disturbance occur in the world's barrier of the heavenly realm, the giant emperor and Asura emperors would immediately respond. Likely, before those in the divinity transformation realm could open the bag, they might be crushed. While the sages inside could perhaps escape, those in the divinity transformation realm and nascent soul realm would essentially be sheep in a tiger's den, their end clear. So their strategy is for sages and army to enter separately, then reunite. Regarding how many squads might be intercepted in advance, it all comes down to luck. However, to defeat the southern heavenly realm, they are willing to take this risk. Jiang Fan speechless. This is a problem. If he dared to initiate the plan to retake the heavenly realm, would he not consider how to enter it? The solution is simple. Just as giants enter Central Earth shall enter the heavenly realm? That's right. Activate the connecting sky-black pillar. In Taikang State, there have been 2 hell beasts, each releasing a connecting sky-black pillar. Logically, Central Earth no longer has a connecting sky-black pillar available. But, a millennium ago, the heavenly realm suffered losses in Taikang State, fearing Taikang State's continued strength after 1,000 years. To ensure no mishap, this time they deployed an additional 3rd hell beast in Taikang State. Its connecting sky-black pillar remains unreleased. Unfortunately, hell beasts can indeed sense one another. More unfortunately, the first has already been slain by the Yellow Springs, while the second hell beast disguising as a fire worship sect disciple was exposed by Jiang Fan. its body destroyed, its remnant soul suppressed within that small tower. He can completely let this remnant soul locate the third hell beast. Then he could use the giant's method developed over millennia to suddenly invade the heavenly realm, giving the giants a tremendous surprise. However, there is a problem with this method. That is when the connecting sky-black pillar first appears, it is only as wide as one person. Even if tens of thousands of the army are separately packed in different bags, several people must act simultaneously. The risk of annihilation by the giant group persists.